Welcome to the source. The source. Source. Hey, get the source.
Yo, good morning. Happy Sunday to all. And man, was it not beautiful watching some football yesterday? Week 0. Had a lot of fun. Georgia Tech was sweet. Obviously, look, I know a lot of people were pissed about SMU because I know pretty much everybody laid the points there. I don't know many people that bet Nevada, at least many people that did this. But that game was awesome. We live bet SMU Moneyline Live. That was sweet. Oh, that guy meant his picks were shit in the comments. My bad. I was just busting his balls anyway. But yeah, the Hawaii game, look, Andy clearly is just flying blind out here. Doesn't have a clue. Doesn't watch college ball. Trying to lay 79 points with Hawaii. He'll explain himself later. What's up? Good morning, Annie. Annie, I haven't seen you in a while. Saw you the other day. I don't know if you took a month off or whatever, but Annie's back. I think I have 4 solid picks today. I wanted to get Kyle's opinion before I place my bets. All right. Toast, I didn't look at much MLB. I have 2 bets open, but you're carrying the baton. It's football season now, so I am no longer a baseball man. So first game, Nationals, Braves. Did the Nats end up blowing that game yesterday?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
But we got the first 5. We got the first 5 money line. That's all I care about.
That's right. I saw people in the Discord had first 5 money line. That's right. I forgot you were on that.
Yeah. And as far as today goes, I would go Atlanta to complete this sweep. I didn't bet this, but I tried to fade Ronaldo Lopez when his first start out against Philadelphia, and he looked absolutely fantastic. I don't have a reason to believe that he's not going to pitch well here today. And even if he only pitches 4 or 5 innings, you still have everybody in the Atlanta bullpen who's been absolutely fantastic, as we know, over the last month, or if not even more. Raisel Iglesias didn't work yesterday, who's their closer. Jimenez didn't work yesterday, who's their closer. And I will give you that DJ Hurts has been pretty better than most people would have thought, especially me for Washington, especially over his last 7 starts. I mean, there's only one time at St. Louis you're like, man, this guy is absolutely terrible. Although the issue for me is the Braves, I've already seen him. He didn't look good against them, and we all know the Braves versus left-handed pitching is much more powerful than right-handed pitching. So it'd be Braves -1.5 or pass. I think that if Washington could have won a game, they would have won a game on Friday or Saturday. So if
Friday.
Yeah, if it's I don't even want to talk about it. But if some Sunday BS happens, I guess so be it. But there's just nothing for me that says I can get to Washington. And you guys know if I could, I would. But it's not there for me.
You trust Reynaldo Lopez right now?
I do.
Yeah, I mean, I wish he didn't. He was hurt, right? Is that why he missed the month?
Yeah, that's the only thing that's if this was his 4th start back, I'd be good. But his 2nd start back, that's the only thing that's kind of holding me off.
I don't like how on the season his splits are much better against righty bats. We know the Nats have some lefties there. I don't love that.
Yeah. So,
but I mean, yeah, I would agree. You could put Braves -1.5 up for me.
I would love to come on here and say, like, it's Sunday. I want to get to Washington. I think they can get a couple, but at the same time, like, I really feel like this Atlanta offense could get to Hurts.
Yeah, and
that could be an issue.
And the Braves have been hitting lefties. The only reason that I took Washington on Friday is because Mackenzie Gore in particular had pitched really well here. It wasn't that. It was certainly not a fade to the Braves lineup against lefties. So yeah, Braves -1.5.
And really quickly, too, DJ Hurts, if you look at his last 2 road starts, really good. But if you bring it back the last 4, his ERA is over 5.50. His xFIP's over 2.5 or 4.5 or 4.3 or something like that. So it's really not as good as it looks on paper.
All right. Yep. Let's move on to the next game. Rockies, Yankees, and I'm pretty sure my opponent. Oh, by the way, I'm in the league finals. I'll hopefully get a trophy. Now I know it doesn't make sense because I have about 50 of those trophies, but to earn one of my own would be cool. Yeah, so it's like winning a trophy. I have a whole box full of them, but I would like to have one that I specifically won. This is my first time in the finals. It took me 8 weeks to get here, but I'm playing against Brew Crew today, and I think he asked about the Yankees, so I think Brew Crew is taking Yankees -1.5 against me in the league.
I was going to say, you can also put a little name badge in the Discord for yourself as well. You can have 2 name badges, Sauce Network and Champion.
Yeah, I need a champion badge. I see other people talking with their champion badge in the disc, and I'm like, it's fucked up.
Where's the badge?
Where's my champion badge? All right, anyway. Austin Gomber, Marcus Stroman. Sunday, Yankees against a lefty we know has been shaky. We saw Freeman pitch really well against them. You're not going to do it, are you?
No. And here's why. I really want to. We've talked about the Yankees having issues versus left-handed pitching. That's nothing new here. That's not. I mean, nobody should be surprised. Yankees 15 and 20 versus left-handed pitching on the year. So nothing like to ride home crazy about, but they have struggled versus left-handed pitching. And Austin Gomber, believe it or not, I mean, isn't in a spot where he's pitching absolutely terribly over his last 7 starts. He had a blow up against Grimace, so be it. He had a blow up against Boston, so be it at the time. And then he had 4 runs in Cincinnati, a small park. You know what I mean? So again, it's not like Austin Gomber's pitching bad. He went on the road in San Diego, went 7 innings, 2 runs. He went on the road in Arizona, 6 innings, 2 runs. As we know, both of those teams are playing extremely good baseball right now. So he's been trustworthy. Here's my issue. And again, it's going to be, sounds like I'm coming to a Rockies bet, and it's not, that it's a stupid reason probably. But for one, I don't trust Marcus Stroman. And for 2, even though he has pitched very well his last couple of starts at Detroit and at home against Texas, 11 innings, 8 hits, 1 run. Stroman's been pretty decent. His walks are an issue. That bothers me. Also, the fact that the Yankees just got embarrassed on Old Timers Day. And again, I know that sounds so stupid, but they literally got in. It's Old Timers Day is huge for the Yankees. Like, it's like one of the biggest days of the year for Yankee fans. They all come there. Every Yankee that's ever won a ring, that's ever took a shit in Yankee Stadium is there. And all of the Yankee fans get to wipe their ass and stuff like that. It's a huge event. They love it.
Sounds like a load of bullshit.
Yeah, the issue is the Yankees got beat 2-9 by the Rockies on that day. So I have a feeling that they come out and destroy the Rockies here today. So that's my feeling. I'm not going to bet this game because everything tells me to bet the Rockies. The only thing that's holding me back is the fact that they got embarrassed on Old Timers Day. And I know that sounds stupid.
I think the move here would be under. You got a rare negative run index on Ballpark Pal for Yankee Stadium towards the bottom. Actually, the 4th lowest run index on the board today. And Marcus Stroman, as we know, has been really bad, but he's actually coming off back-to-back solid starts. And if you look at over the course of the season, he actually is decent when he pitches against bad lineups. Against bottom 10 lineups, he's got a 3.50 ERA. So here he is against the Rockies. Not optimal weather for scoring runs. This number's all the way up at 9. We know the Yankees don't hit lefties as well as they hit righties, even though their numbers against lefties in the last 30 days actually look pretty good. But if you take a look, I mean, Kyle Freeland just pitched great against them. It's really just Castillo that they got to. I mean, Tyler Anderson pitched really well against the Yankees. So, yeah, it would probably be under 9 here for me.
Yeah. I was going to say the only reason I couldn't get to the Yankees also is it's -1.5 is -130, 140 range. It's just a lot of juice to pay on a Sunday.
Next up. Reds Pirates.
I just bet this game.
Did you really? I was about to say, who the fuck knows? That was exactly what are you doing?
I played the Reds, and I hope that I don't feel stupid about this, but we're getting a Reds that has a full rested bullpen behind Nick Martinez. I don't think that Nick Martinez is going to be in there for very long, and facing a Pirates team that has. I don't care if they've scored a couple runs a couple times in this series on Thursday and Friday. This team can't score. And Ortiz has been an absolute shell of himself since, he had like 5 or 6 really good starts to start the year. And then since essentially like the middle of last month, he just really hasn't been the same. He went on the road to Arizona, got hit up, came home against Arizona, got hit up. The Padres hit him up. The Rangers hit him up. I will give you that he has seen a couple lineups at the same time, but guess what happens? He just saw Cincinnati as well, like a month ago or so, maybe a month and a half ago. And he pitched really well against Cincinnati in Cincinnati, but the fact that Pittsburgh has Jalen Beeks went yesterday, Ben Heller went yesterday, Stratton went yesterday. I mean, all their middle relievers besides Bednar and Chapman went, not to mention the fact that Bednar can't do anything right now. I think he has one save the last week. He also has a blown save and a loss. So I just feel like the Pirates are very vulnerable at the back end of this game. So yeah, I played Cincinnati money line, and I also played Cincinnati -1.5 at +150. And if you're asking why I did that, because the last 15 Cincinnati games, 13 of the 15, they've won by 2 runs or more. Like we saw yesterday, 10-2. Their previous win, 11-7, 6-3, 9-2. When the bats are going and this team wins, they win. So it was worth it to play a little bit of a -1.5 at a plus price. And they're the road team, which helps a lot too.
Yeah, and I also like how I was looking while you were talking, and looks like Louis Ortiz is starting to fall off a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, his last 4 starts, he's got a 6.45 ERA. Now, granted, he pitched against the Padres twice, the Diamondbacks, but there's a start against the Rangers in there where he gave up 4 runs. So, I mean, Louis Ortiz, his best days of the season, they seem to be about a month and a half ago now. So I don't have a ton of faith in him. And I agree, as long as the only way that your bet loses, I would say, is if Louis Ortiz pitches 6-7 excellent innings and the Pirates are able to give the ball to their high leverage arms, because their high leverage arms are available, but the middle relief is put up Reds for me. Reds money line.
I also like the fact that the Reds have been scoring the last couple days as well. 15 runs the last couple games. They had a 0, then they had an 11 stop before that. So they're coming in bunches for the Reds.
Next up, Arizona, Boston, Merrill Kelly, Tanner Houck. I think this is a snake spot. I didn't bet this one, but
let's see what this line is now. Whew. Yeah, well, I agree with you. There's no way I would bet on Tanner Houck, personally. I think the question here is, what are we getting out of Merrill Kelly, personally? Because what we've seen from Merrill Kelly this year hasn't been like anything terrible or anything like that. But I mean, he's only pitched once or twice the last couple weeks or whatever. So I mean, it's a little bit better, but again, he got hit up really bad by the Rays. And I know that I mean, I feel so strong about how bad this Rays team is. I understand that they won against the Dodgers last night. That was so flukish. I mean, you're welcome, Joe Kelly. But honestly, I just don't know. I just don't know what to think of him. And Tanner Houck hasn't been very good either. I mean, on the road at Texas and then Houston, he had a couple of decent starts, but besides that, Texas hit him up really big. The Yankees got him. Oakland got him. He faced this Arizona team last year on the road. They got him like really bad. 6 hits, 4 runs in 4 innings. I played over. We have decent weather here today. I trust both of these offenses. Sooner or later, it's funny, but the reason that I played over and not Arizona is because Boston on Sundays. Like, for whatever reason, this team continues to win on Sundays. So if they're going to put up runs, I don't see a world that Arizona doesn't put up runs either. So I played over 9.5. That's right.
Haven't you lost a little bit of faith in the Boston lineup?
I have, yeah. And that's why I didn't play Boston money line and I played over, because I counted on Arizona to hit. I assume that Boston's going to hit with it being on a Sunday. I know that sounds stupid, but that this team, for whatever reason, on Sundays is just a absolutely different animal. So
what, they're good on Sundays?
Yeah, they don't lose. They don't lose on Sundays. I know that sounds so stupid, but
that
it's
does
like,
sound stupid.
I'm not, and that's why I'm not like, yeah. But again, if their offense is dead, so be it. They've scored 3 runs the last couple of games. Besides that, I mean, they've been really, really good. So if they're dead, they're dead. And Merrill Kelly comes in here and throws a shutout or 2 runs, so be it. But I think that we see some runs today in Boston.
I call bullshit. I'm looking at back-to-back losses on Sundays. Fuck that. Snakes. Eduardo Diaz. Thank you. They lost the last couple Sundays.
Yeah, what's the total on the year?
I don't know. I looked at the last 2.
No, I'm not saying. I didn't expect you to say. I was meant the comments. Like, I know for a fact it's a very.
No, I've heard people say that, so I'm sure that they have a good record on Sundays, because I've seen that a few times. Someone in the Discord always says that. I forget.
Yeah,
Apollo always says that shit.
Yeah. And again, it's not like I'm basing my bet off of them on Sundays. I'm just saying, like, that's what's going through. I'm just letting you guys know what's going through my head. That's all.
Next up, Angels, Blue Jays. Yo, what's his name? Made a really strong case for the Angels money line last night. Shriek, the German guy. Really liked what he said, man. Do you hear that?
Shriek is German? I thought Max was German.
They're both German, but Shriek's the sharp one, though. Shriek actually wins. Yeah, he what was he saying? Oh my God, what the frick? It's Kevin Gausman at home. And he said, like, this sounds stupid. He goes, I don't trust the Blue Jays to win 4 in a row, which I thought was actually like made some sense to me. Put up the Angels money line because I'm inclined to tail him on this. I think this is a good, if you're looking for an underdog to take a shot on for like a Sunday, I think this is a nice one. I mean, the Angels almost won a couple of these games already. One of them they were absolutely robbed, as Toast is well aware of. Tyler Anderson's been solid on the road all season, and Kevin Gausman's been a fade at home all season. I mean, I really think it's worth a look here. Actually, should I bet this?
Oh yeah, you can bet it. I played their team total, but I was just waiting to see what the line was going to do. I was trying to get involved with the Angels as well. If there's one thing that Prop Beaver has taught us, it's to fade Kevin Gausman on the road or at home. That's just one thing that I will always remember from Beaver's time with us. Rest in peace, Prop Beaver, wherever you are.
Right here.
But honestly, it's hard to worry. It's hard not to worry about the Toronto offense. That's why I played Angels first 5 team total over 1.5. It's really hard not to worry about that. But I will say, and the fact that Tyler Anderson has been really bad his last couple starts, and before that he had been really good, but all of his expected numbers told us that he was getting a little bit lucky, and he somehow continued to pitch well. The issue is he continues to pitch well on the road, and that's the thing where it's like you can kind of start to poke holes in whatever he's doing, sure. But the fact of the matter is, Tyler Anderson, the full season on the road, is at a 2.29 ERA with a 1.06 WHIP. His xFIP is in the 4.5s, but regardless, I mean, his last 4 road starts, his xFIP's only 2.83. So it's not like he's getting killed on every single road start that he makes. Tyler Anderson's been really good on the road, and his history against the Blue Jays tell us exactly that. His 3 home starts against the Blue Jays absolutely rocked. His one road start in Toronto last year, 6 innings, 1 run. So again, I would lean Angels first 5. I played Angels first 5 team total trying to get on Gausman. I mean, the Angels looked like crap yesterday. Bowden Francis almost no-hit him. Nice try, but couldn't get there. Almost. I think the Angels come out and score a couple early today on Gausman.
Yeah, let's do it. Angels money line. I just bet it. It's dropped though. He was giving it out at plus 150 last night. I just bet it at plus 135. So I got the worst of the number here. No question that market's being bought down. Next up, Rangers, Cleveland. And look, I know a lot of people don't like this kind of spot, but I think it's a Rangers spot, man. I know everyone's back on the Cleveland Guardians bandwagon. I mean, I had the Guardians money line in the league yesterday, so I believed in Cleveland yesterday. I think all 3 of us on the show took Cleveland yesterday. But, I mean, the truth is Cleveland's got a terrible record in their last 25, 30 games. I mean, they haven't been good. The only reason we bet them yesterday is John Gray on the road against lefties is like a train wreck. So, look, I know that it's not a right-handed pitching, so it doesn't exactly fit the mold of what we've been doing, fading Cleveland. Bradford's a lefty. But the truth is Cleveland has the most important series of the season starting tomorrow against Kansas City. So if there's a time where I mean, almost doesn't apply to Cleveland because that coach doesn't give a shit about his bullpen. Like, he'll have Class A throw 3 innings and then start him the next game. He doesn't care.
They're big guy.
But Cleveland does have the most important series of the year against the Royals tomorrow. Their lead in the division is down to 2 games. 2. Remember, it looked like Cleveland had the AL Central locked up a month ago. Their lead's down to 2 games, and they have a series with the Royals starting tomorrow. It's going to be the most important series of the season for Cleveland to date. So this game against Texas, I mean, the Rangers have the day off tomorrow. They can empty the tank to try to get this one and steal the series. Cleveland's record in the last 20 games is terrible. So it's not like, oh, how could you fade Cleveland? Like, bro, look, what are they, like 6-14 in their last 20? They've been so bad. So it's got
close. 7-13.
7-13 in their last 20. So yeah, Texas up. I didn't bet it because I don't like. If I wish the Rangers had a righty on the mound, man.
I disagree. I mean, I guess the Rangers can win the game, but Cleveland team total over 4.5. It's plus 120 last night. Let me see what it's at. I guarantee it's at around the same number. Nope, it's down to 3.5 minus 150. Okay,
Give me Rangers.
Whatever. If you want to play a juice 3.5 or a plus money 4.5, I don't really care. I honestly think that Cleveland's going to score some runs here today. First of all, Cody Bradford hasn't made a whole bunch of starts on the road, so it's really hard to get a judge on where he's been. His last 7 starts, only 1 start has been on the road. And that was against the Yankees. He pitched really well against the Yankees. Last year, he pitched against this Cleveland team, went 3 innings, gave up 7 hits on 6 runs. And I think that's probably – I don't say that they're going to score 7 runs on him, but I do think that Cleveland puts up some hits against him. Cody Bradford, his ERA, his last 5 starts, a 5.32 ERA. Not to mention his xFIP against lefties is 4.54. So he does have decent numbers versus lefties and righties, but he's also been getting extremely lucky versus lefties. And what do we know? If there's one thing that we know about Cleveland, we're going to see a whole bunch of lefties in that lineup. Ramirez, Kwan, Naylor, Jimenez. They could have a couple other guys off the bench if they wanted to as well. So, again, the Cleveland weather is pretty nice in Progressive Field today. It's like 80 degrees with the wind going whatever. It doesn't really matter. I honestly feel like this is a spot that Cleveland kind of cleans up. I've tried over the last month multiple times to pick my spots with the Rangers, and every single time that team lets me down. And I'm not kidding, every single time. So, I just can't do it. I really think that Cleveland scores some runs here today. So like I said, I played Cleveland team total over 4.5 plus 120 for a small bet.
Rangers. Didn't bet it, though. I now have 3 bets down. This isn't one of them. Cubs, Marlins. Look, it's not a road getaway day, but it's a getaway day where both teams need to travel tomorrow. Somewhat fits the mold. Fish?
Yeah. I played over. Don't hate the fish at all. I think that I played over because Adam Aller's been terrible. God, I wish I could have. I wish I had the number. Somebody in the Discord sent me a. It was like, what is it? Somebody, and if you're in the comments, let me know what's the over/under record for Miami, because it's like absurd. Like the over in Miami is like 68-12 or some astronomical crazy number like that. Which made me just thinking that maybe I'm just missing out on money. But I did say yesterday as well that this Cubs offense might have turned a corner. This team has scored 30 runs over the last 3 days, 2 games against Miami, 1 game against Detroit. They're just clicking right now. And honestly, I think that Javier Assad, he's given up 1 run his last couple outings. He's actually been really good for them. I think that Miami can put a couple off of him as well. We all know that the Miami bullpen's absolutely terrible as well. I played over 8.5.
Yeah, the poll was supposed to say Cubs versus Marlins. Prop Beaver put Cubs versus Guardians up. But I guess it would be Marlins just by the fact that it kind of fits the mold of where the Marlins have been so profitable. And if you've been watching this show, you're well aware of it. We talk about it all the time. The Marlins on these getaway days, I don't know what it is, man. I mean, they have such a good record in these games. I don't know if it's the last game of the series. Well, they're 3-0 in their last 3. This isn't one of them, though, because this is a home getaway game. But in these kinds of spots where the team they're playing has already taken the series and they're already looking ahead to the next one. For example, the Cubs go into Pittsburgh for a division series starting tomorrow. So I don't know if that's why. I don't really know the reasoning for it. I'm just telling you what's been happening.
Found it. Sorry. The over is 48-18-2 in Miami home games.
Is what?
48-18-2.
No, it's not.
That's what he just told me. That's what they said.
The over is hitting at 70%?
72.7, yes. And I've seen that from multiple people, so it's not just him who said that. I've seen
How did
that.
we not see that? How do I not? How am I just finding out that about that now? There's no way.
Dude, I don't know. I feel the same way.
No, hold on. Let me confirm that shit. There's no way. The over is hitting at 72.7%. I call horse shit.
I didn't want. I'm very curious to see what you see because
Only at home.
Yeah.
Miami, what? The over is 39, 38, and 4 at home.
Yo.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, that's what I'm saying. There's no way. The most profitable home team, as far as when it comes to the over, the most profitable home over would be the Trop. Oh my God! No! My bad. I'm looking at fucking last year's. Holy shit!
I'm like, how is this?
There's
no way. Only because I was like, there must be. I was gonna say there must be something lost in translation.
Oh wow! No, it's the Marlins. Yeah, 72.7%, 48, 18, and 2, according to team rankings. You mean to tell me that people have just been blindly betting overs in Miami and cashing this whole time?
Yep.
How has nobody said that? How has nobody said that?
I was like, how did I miss that? Like, I don't even understand.
Yo, comments. This is on you. No one wants to mention that?
I want to give the shout out to the person, and I can't fucking find it, and it sucks.
No, they don't give him a shout out. Give him a shout out if they pointed this out 2 fucking months ago.
I think he said it multiple times, actually.
We just don't listen. Oh shit! Next up,
Shark God.
Shark God.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it's Shark God. Shark PD. Dode. Shit, I don't know. You win.
Next up, Tigers, White Sox. Bullpen day for the Tigers.
What's this price now? It's a pass for me, but I'm trying to see if it's worth a White Sox. Yeah, it'd be White Sox or pass. Again, it's a bullpen day. I don't know what you're going. I mean, it's not like Detroit's been playing really good baseball. Like they're 7-3 their last 10. They're 12-8 their last 20. Yeah, they keep on winning series. Again, it's one thing to know that Detroit's winning. It's another thing to lay minus 160-ish on their money line to win a game on a bullpen day on a Sunday. So again, they've pretty much killed this White Sox team the last couple nights. I got nothing. I don't trust Jonathan Cannon. He got absolutely destroyed by Detroit like 2 months ago. 1 inning, 7 hits, 8 runs. I'm sure he's going to pitch a little bit better than that today, you would expect, but he's not a guy that I can trust when I'm making a bet. So it'd be White Sox or pass at price alone, but there's not a chance in hell I'd bet it.
Yeah, there's so many people in the comments like, bro, I've been saying that. We're just not listening.
My bad.
They've probably been saying it for like a month, just ignoring it, and then yell at them for not saying it.
I was like, man, I swear I've heard that like 7 times. But that's funny.
No, I got nothing for this shitty game.
Yeah.
Gab says soft pass as opposed to a hard. Does a soft pass mean like you kind of have a lean? What's the difference between a soft pass and a hard pass? Next. Cards Twins in Minnesota. Toast, this is a dome, so ballpark Pal doesn't matter.
It's not a dome.
Yes, it is. It's a retractable thing.
No,
Not a dome. Not a dome.
No retractable.
Whatever, bro. What? Go, bro. Did you bet the game? I've had enough of this sport, man.
It's Twins or pass. I'm probably going to end up betting. Yes, I'm going to bet the Twins right now because it's still moving up. Twins minus 142 on FanDuel is the best price you're going to get. I just don't understand. I guess I don't understand this price really. I mean, the Cardinals are absolutely terrible, and Eric Fetty has been absolutely terrible. Coming after being traded to them. Their bullpen, has been, I guess okay, but at the same time, sure, they have Helsley, Kitchage, and Romero available, but Minnesota has everybody available as well. And Zebby Matthews has been, I think, pitched really, really well. He only has 2 starts on the year, but one of them was against Kansas City, and it was at home. But Kansas City is still the division team. It's a team that's a pretty good baseball team. So for him to pitch 5 innings and only give up 2 runs and a couple hits, that was really impressive. And then Zebby Matthews goes on the road, and he gets, I mean, he gets hit up a little bit by San Francisco, or sorry, by the Padres, but that was right after the Padres had got embarrassed. Like, it's just really hard for me to think that the St. Louis team, who I've watched the last couple nights, matter of fact, I've watched the last 4 or 5 nights, and they had that one game in Milwaukee where they scored 10. They randomly scored 6 in Minnesota. Besides that, it's a whole bunch of 1s and 2s. I just don't trust this St. Louis team. And I do think that we know with this Minnesota team that we can trust their bats and they can score. And we saw it last night. We saw whatever happened on Friday. I don't know. But besides that, they've been scoring 5 runs a night. I just think that Friday night was kind of, especially the fact that we know that they're the number 1 team in baseball at OPS, WRC+, WOBA, all that stuff as far as hitting at home. So there's just no reason for me not to think that the Twins can win here today. It's, again, I don't think it's like a lock or anything like that. But I just feel like the Cardinals are being a little bit overvalued right now for a team that's pretty damn bad.
Why not over?
Because I don't trust the Cardinals offense.
Dude,
That's why.
Z Matthews?
Mm-hmm.
Over, Prop Beaver. This team's the 3rd highest on the run index chart, and it's not a retractable roof, allegedly. I'd like to see it with my own eyes, but apparently I'm being told it's not a retractable roof. Someone have photo proof of that? Next up, man. Not betting.
It is 85. It is 85 degrees there.
Yeah, it's the 3rd highest on Ballpark Pal. My favorite site. What's next? Yo, this I mean, I'm on this game, and I'm pretty sure all you guys are going to be on it too. I would imagine this poll, as soon as Prop Beaver hits send poll, I mean, imagine everyone's going to be clicking Phillies. And I got this plus 120 last night, so why is it still plus 120 now? I mean, there must be not a lot of faith in Colby Allard here. But Seth Lugo is not a guy who scares me. I don't think he's bad, but he's certainly not what I would consider a bet-on pitcher, and I haven't been scared to fade him several times this year. It's not necessarily that I think Colby Allard's going to deal or anything like that. I just like I'm getting the better team here at plus 120. Also, like I said during the Cleveland game, most important series of the season for the Royals starts tomorrow. So if there's ever a time where you're going to see the Royals hold the bullpen arm or 2 back, it would be tonight. Get it, Phils. It's super square. I would imagine it's going to be a bit of a public dog, but I'm on it.
Yeah, I'm on it as well. I will give everybody that the Royals at home and versus left-handed pitching has been pretty damn good. I mean, there's no argument about that. I do think that some of their numbers are a little bit inflated, just because of how big they scored on Skubal, and they put 8 on Lodolo and 5 on Tyler Anderson. So I do feel those numbers are a little bit inflated for whatever it is, for whatever reason. But I do. And Colby Allard, not a whole bunch of road starts on the season right now, but he's rocking a 2 ERA with a WHIP under 1.1 and an xFIP under 4. And again, Kansas City's got a whole bunch of lefty bats, but it's kind of a split, but he struggles versus righties. So Bobby Witt and Perez, and that's pretty much it. So if you can, again, working around Bobby Witt and Sal Perez is easier said than done. But I really think that if he can work around those guys, he's going to have a lot of success against all those lefties in the lineup for Kansas City. Does the Phillies bullpen worry me a little bit? Kind of, but at the same time, Estevez, Hoffman, Alvarado, Strom, all those guys haven't worked. I know Alvarado's been hit or miss at times, but again, he's just one of those guys where you just have to take it what it is. You're either going to get good Alvarado or bad Alvarado, and you're never going to know until he starts about 3 or 4 pitches in. You'll know. And as far as the Kansas City side goes, nothing crazy in their bullpen situation, but what I do like the fact is that Phillies have seen all their middle guys the last couple of days. Stratton, Smith, Zerpa, Long, they all saw last night. None of them looked great, and they saw MacArthur and Bubik the day before that. So if it gets to a situation where it's a save situation for Lucas Urseg, I probably already lost the game, so I don't really worry about that. But yeah, I just felt that the Phillies at plus 120 after what they showed me yesterday was a little bit too good to pass up.
Yeah, I mean, I'm on the Phillies too. Munoz in the chat, he said big wins blowing out to left center. So it leads to positive runs there. But what I do like is the poll isn't as bad as I thought. In fact, the viewership's on the Royals, 55%, 39% Kansas City. So
I wasn't worried about that.
It's not a blowaway. I mean, there are people betting the Phillies out there. It's definitely one of the more bet underdogs on the board, but it's not as bad as I thought. I thought everyone was going to be in the Phillies here. So
I think it's and I'm kind of joking, but I think it's like a sharp versus square type of thing. I think people see Kansas City at home versus a lefty with Lugo on the mound. Let's go.
Yeah, I didn't take into consideration Lugo versus Allard. People are going to bet based on that. Next game.
My cursor disappeared, so it's going to be hard to remove the graphics.
Yeah,
on the
it'll
screen
come back
until
in like a minute. It's fine for now.
Just keep that in mind.
Yep. Next game is Milwaukee, Oakland. Frankie Montas, Joey Estes. Looks like Brewers are minus 145 favorites here. I didn't even look at this game, but if there's a time to fade Montas, it is on the road. Usually I would like to fade him against lefties. Oakland doesn't really have a ton of lefty bats. And also, that little soliloquy I just gave about fading Frankie Montas on the road against lefties, it failed last time. He actually, who did they play where he went on the road and dealt against a bunch of lefties? What game was that?
St. Louis or Atlanta, one of the two.
It was probably St. Louis.
Yeah. He's
coming. St. Louis doesn't have a ton of lefties though, but this is a straight pass for me. And Prop Beaver's cursor disappeared from his screen. It does this and it'll come back in a minute. It looks like it already came back actually. So.
Let me see what this price is. I really want to play Milwaukee because they are just absolutely rolling right now, and they're the best road offense in Major League Baseball. The last 30 days, they're top 8 or 9. The last 14 days. Right-handed pitching the last couple of weeks hasn't been a bright spot for Milwaukee, but they've been serviceable enough for me. If Frankie Montas is back, then this is a really cheap
and
price.
Hold on, let me cut it. Someone just said Montas knows how to pitch in Oakland.
Oh, thank you. Because I was going to say, if Frankie Montas is back, this is probably a pretty cheap price with Milwaukee, considering you're going to get the revenge factor of him being back in Oakland for the first time. He's very comfortable in Oakland. So I 100% agree with that comment. So Joey Estes, by the way, his numbers on the surface look okay. Last 5 home starts, 1.9 ERA, 0.90 whip. Good job, Joey. Now let's look at the expected numbers. 5.1 FIP. I mean, it's just so, sooner or later, this dam is about to break. And this Milwaukee offense has scored 20 runs the last couple nights. I was on Milwaukee for a full unit yesterday. This line was minus 120-ish when it opened. It's minus 145, minus 150. I think there's a reason for that. I think I'm probably going to end up playing like Oakland and like somebody else, like Oakland and the Yankees is a money line parlay. Give me a decent price since Oakland's 150 and the Yankees are big. But I'm going to probably do something like that. I don't know, but I think that Milwaukee wins this game pretty easily, to be honest with you.
You had just said Oakland there. You meant Milwaukee.
I meant
right?
Milwaukee then. Sorry.
Okay,
yes.
Cool.
Someone said Milwaukee has lost us so much money this season. Aren't they like second or third in the league in ROI?
They are number 1 in
I was gonna say,
return
number
on
one?
investment. Number 1.
So the Brewers lead the MLB in return on investment. No team has been more profitable than the Brewers this year. If you're not telling the Brewers they lost you too much money, then you're not. There's 30 MLB teams you're not betting. All right, next.
He probably bet them once and never did it again.
Lost me so much money. Rays at Dodgers.
I feel bad for everybody because I'm the only one that won last night on this game.
What do you mean? No, you didn't. Dodgers lost.
I had Dodgers first 5 run line and Dodgers team total over 4.5.
Shit.
I know. That's why I said it's stupid. That said, let me guess. Dodgers minus 1.5 for me. Thank you. Gavin Stone on the mound. Gavin is back, guys. I've always had faith in this kid. And he showed it on the road at Milwaukee, 5 innings, 3 hits, 1 run, and then the masterclass in Seattle at home, 7 innings, 2 hits, 10 strikeouts, no runs. I truly, and I'm not even saying this as a joke, I truly believe that Gavin Stones comes out here and shoves here today against this Rays team. I do not trust this Rays team. I say this over and over and over again. I don't care that they scored 9 runs yesterday. If Cabanero continue to hit balls at 110 miles an hour off the bat every time he swings it, so be it. I'll take an L. But I think that the Dodgers absolutely slaughtered this team. Jacob Lopez absolutely throttled his only start last year in Toronto. He went 5 1/3, 8 hits and 6 runs. We know how bad the Blue Jays are. I really think this is a Dodgers spot. I don't know what the number is right now. I don't care. It's Dodgers -1.5. It's probably one of my favorite plays of the day. I'm done.
I guess same thing. I'm a little pissed at the Dodgers.
Okay. Hold on, guys. Okay, the numbers change. I got Dodgers -1.5 plus 115. It's at -115 now. So
what?
Yeah, I didn't realize that.
Take that shit off, Prop Beaver. No.
Yeah. So, yeah, if Dodgers are past, that's just how I feel. That's crazy.
Next.
Here's another game. Interesting.
I tried to tell you Giants were the move yesterday. You didn't want to listen.
Sauce, I had the Giants on my ticket.
I don't think you did.
I did. 100%.
I thought I was arguing with you yesterday about the Giants.
I don't know.
Was that Lindy?
It must have been.
Who the fuck was the guest yesterday?
I don't. Oh,
it was Logan, and I think Logan was telling Toast to run back his loss, and I think
that's
Toast,
what he did. Yeah,
he
that's why I
persuaded
ended
him
up
to do
betting it.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. Anyway,
shout out to Logan for giving me the push to bet the Giants yesterday on the money line.
I said Giants. All right, go ahead. What do you like here?
I was just giving Logan some bet.
Preach to Logan. No preach to Sauce. What a shithead Sauce is.
No one's respected. I said Giants.
I didn't even. I'm sorry. I thought you were in football mode. My bad.
I actually don't even remember. I might not have said Giants. Now I don't know.
Don't really understand this line. I guess that's where I'm kind of confused. I guess because Seattle's been so terrible that I guess the line makes sense. Seattle's 2-8 their last 10, 8-12 their last 20. I mean, they're absolutely playing like garbage. That's why they fired their manager. I mean, they also they got swept by the Dodgers. I mean, they had a bad road trip in Pittsburgh and Detroit. I mean, but they faced Scooble, they faced Skeens. Again, I could care less about Seattle, but I don't feel like they're not playing as bad as what the teams that they've faced and the starting pitching they faced. That being said, we're getting Brian Wu, who's been one of the best pitchers in the American League, at home or on the road, facing the Tigers, the Dodgers, Philadelphia, Houston, all that stuff. He had one bad start in LA, but besides that, he's going 5-6 innings, giving up 1 or 2 runs, essentially. Faced this Giants team last year, went 6 innings, gave up 3 hits and 2 runs. I don't have any reason to believe that Brian Wu doesn't blank this lineup for 5 or 6 innings here today. And then we're getting Robbie Ray, who I guess you can maybe say there's a little bit of revenge factor being traded from Seattle to San Francisco. And Robbie Ray's been, I guess, decent. I think that dam is about to break sooner or later. His xFIP and stuff everything is kind of fine, but he does really struggle with lefty bats. And that's the issue for me, is that there's only 2 lefty bats in the Mariners lineup, Cal Raleigh, Polanco, and that Leo Raris guy or whatever that's new with them. But again, I don't understand this price. I think Seattle wins. I'm not paying. I was willing to pay -140. It's at -130 now. So I don't really know what to think. Seattle's my lean. They have everybody in their bullpen ready to go. Munoz, Snyder, Saucedo, all those guys have only Saucedo worked yesterday for their major bullpen arms. This is a hard one for me. It's Seattle or pass, but I don't think I bet it.
Looks like just 3 hours ago, this shit was -150.
What?
That's what it says. 7:56 a.m.
It makes sense because I told myself yesterday, because it was like that 140-ish range. And I was like, if it stays there when I wake up in the morning, I think I'm good to bet Seattle. If it's on that 130 price, I think I'm screwed, which I didn't bet it, obviously. But now I see it at 130.
And Munoz in the comments said the Mariners are a perfect 6-0 and Brian Wu's 6 home starts. Our poll is coming in on Giants, man. It's almost split. I'm taking Seattle.
Okay. I'm coming along.
I'm going to come.
That's like my favorite thing.
Dude,
I didn't even know. I didn't even know it was Donald Trump for like the longest. I had no idea. And people, yeah.
That GIF could be used like 100 times, and I laugh 100 out of 100.
Me too.
All right,
I saw this. I saw this wedding DJ do it, and he remixed "I'm Gonna Come" with some other thing. It was hilarious, and some lady like turned around and gave him like the dirtiest look. It was priceless.
All right.
I can hear him talking, and it bothers me.
Is he? Yeah. They can hear him too, though.
No, I didn't have my mic on for that one. I forgot to put it up like an idiot. Damn it.
Anyway, next
I
game.
figured he was talking shit.
Grimace.
God damn it.
Look, it's very clear that the Mets are not playing games. And a lot of people are like, oh, the Mets are so fucked on this road trip, right? They got to go out to San Diego, Arizona. This is where the Mets get put down. Their season ends. But Grimace looked adversity in the face and said, no. Taking 2 out of 3 here in this series with the crazy flight in there. Price is a little sketchy, but come on. Mets got a day off tomorrow. Then that big important series against Arizona. It's 48 hours away. We're not worried about it. We got the starting pitching advantage, better team, more heart. Grimace takes the series. Grimace takes 3 out of 4 here. Mets money line.
I agree.
Yeah.
I think this price tells you everything that you kind of need to know. At plus 100, I think this opened at nearly a pick 'em. Maybe the Mets were even a minus 105. It doesn't really matter to me. I just think, here's the thing. I don't think that Quintana is as bad as what he has shown his last few starts. I know that he's been absolutely terrible. I don't think he's nearly as bad as he's been. And on the inverse side, I think that Martin Perez has pitched over his mind his first 3 or 4 starts with San Diego. And it's really hard to trust him considering the Mets have already seen him once this year as well. I know the Padres have seen Quintana as well, but I'm not laying juice with Martin Perez. That's just first and foremost. So,
Is it Martin? Is it Martin? I thought it was Martin.
Martin, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Martin, sorry. Yeah. Martin Perez. Either way, I'm not laying it with him. I would lean under if I had to make a game. It's plus 100 now. I was going to say 8.5. It's just a pure pass for me now. I do think that the Mets win this game personally, but I'm not going to bet it.
Yeah, I believe like the American way to say it is Martin Perez, but his actual name is Martin Perez.
Yeah, it's Martin. I screwed that up. Yeah.
All right, next.
The only reason I like the under, by the way, is both bullpens have everybody rested and available, like literally everybody, because all these games have been blown out.
Did you actually bet the under?
No, I didn't. That's what I was saying. It's plus 100. Scared me.
Houston, Baltimore. Charles was talking about last night. Kikuchi owns this team for whatever reason. Baltimore can just never hit off Kuchi.
Yeah, his 2 starts this year, 10 1/3 innings, 2 runs, 15 strikeouts. So, been really, really good. I guess again, this is another game where I don't understand the line really. I guess because you're not going to see, most likely not going to see Yordan Alvarez, or you got to assume he's not going to play until he's actually confirmed in with that neck injury or fatigue or whatever the hell they're calling it. But at the same time, like, Dean Kramer's terrible. I know that he's had a couple back-to-back decent starts against the Mets and the Nationals. But that dude is absolutely terrible. And like Sasha just mentioned, and like Charles said, like Kikuchi's been, not only has he been really, really good against Baltimore, they've completely changed his pitch mix in Houston. He's not nearly the same pitcher. I honestly think it could be even a bigger disaster for Baltimore facing this new pitcher. Or I say new pitcher, meaning his pitch mix is completely different. It could be another sign of trouble for them. So I lean under, and I lean Houston in the first 5. I had a big bet on Houston in the first 5 yesterday. Framber's back. I tried to tell you all that. Y'all didn't want to listen. He came out and shoved. I think Kikuchi does the same damn thing. So I lean under, and I lean Houston in the first 5.
I don't know how you're leaning under.
I leaning under because I have. I just.
Astros might put up a 9-piece.
See, and that's where I don't know about that. I think that this is more of like a maybe I could be wrong, but I don't. Yeah, we'll see.
Nats are up 1-0 already. Thanks, B Felly. Someone says, use your gut more, Kyle. You'll win more. Don't bet off your gut.
Nope.
Trust the numbers, please. Don't listen to that shit. Sign somebody who doesn't win. All right. Let's do a community parlay, which has been red hot.
Community parlay, the parlay we bet, yeah. Community parlay is for the community. We community, making a parlay. Yeah.
Go look.
I'm going to right now.
Did the community parlay win yesterday too? No, right?
No, it was. Well, actually, I don't know. Did it win yesterday? What did Andy
It
just
did
say?
have the square ass Yankees in it.
Community took the Yankees yesterday.
Come on, community.
All right.
I'm ready.
Gut wins just as much as data caps. Do you have data to back that up, or are you just spewing shit? How would you know that without data?
He said, "Did you have data to back that up?"
Like, how would you know? I don't know. I just have a feeling it wins more. All right. Houston, put
That got me. I don't know why.
That's good. That's good.
So, do we want to put the Yankees in? That game starts at 1. No, we could do it. Yankees money line. Reds money line. Was Diamondbacks a public dog in here? Yeah, I think they voted for the Snakes. And then Blue Jays money. Diamondbacks, Blue Jays. It's all your guys' fault. The community. No. B Felly, do not put that on me. I believe what did I give out on that? I think yesterday in the show, Rockies team total over. Logan said. I don't remember what Toast said.
I think he played the over in the game.
This cold
yeah.
pizza fellow seems like an awfully salty person for
Just
somebody
mute
w's in
him.
her comments quite often. I feel
He
very
literally gave
sorry
a
for
speech
them.
yesterday about we never do shows on Sunday because we missed one Sunday.
I feel very sorry for them.
just mute him.
But he's here every day though, so
I
appreciate
feel
that.
very sorry.
Hit that like button.
Yankees money line, it looks like, is the first leg.
Yep.
The community's going right back to the
wow.
well.
Hey, run back your losses the Logan way, baby. I respect it. I respect it. Learning things from the guests.
Someone says Kyle literally said, "Put the Yankees in the parlay." I closed the stream. Yeah, it sounds like something I would say.
Yep, I heard him. It's a good point. Okay, so now let's do the other people. All right, the other teams.
Next up, Guardians, Cubs, Tigers, Twins. So my gut says fade the Yankees. So it's cast your votes. Right after this, we're doing the Green Bay Packers, and we're bringing on Packers beat writer and all-around piece of shit for Hawaii bet, Andy.
I thought for a second you really had a beat writer.
And before we get into the Packers, Andy's going to give us an 120-second summary on his Hawaii pick and how it panned out. Everyone was trusting Andy, went with Hawaii. They're like, this Andy kid seems like he really knows his stuff. Turns out Andy's just spewing a bunch of shit.
Didn't get me. Didn't get me.
Didn't get me. Me neither. I don't do that FCS. I don't play that FCS game. Not up in here.
As soon as I saw their plane was late, I knew it was bad news because everybody in the world was talking about it. I knew it was bad
Royals.
news.
Kyle, what do you say to Jay Trinidad's comment? This mofo Kyle said trust the data, yet every time 2 and 12 Patrick Corbin's on the mound, it's F the data.
What? I backed Patrick Corbin like 3 or 4 times when the data it reflects it. You're comparing the data to the market.
I would tend to agree. So I feel people tend to take your love for Patrick Corbin out of. I feel people.
I mean, people exaggerate it because I have a hat and we have fun with it. But I actually bet it 3 times.
I feel like
this year.
Betting on Patrick Corbin is such a traumatic experience that when they do so and they lose, it really takes a lot out of them. And I don't blame them. I would feel a bit hurt too.
Also,
hold on. You're betting on the data's reflection on the market. So, for example, Patrick Corbin at home against bad lineups actually has good numbers. At home, he's got like a 4.60 ERA in his last 5 starts. I'm giving examples here. And against bad lineups, he's got like a 3.92 ERA. So you got Patrick Corbin at home where he's performed well against a bad lineup, and the price is plus 170. It's not the play wouldn't be saying Patrick Corbin is great. The play is saying Patrick Corbin should perform better than plus 170 home dog. You're playing the numbers against the market.
And just to tail off of that, if you were to play Patrick Corbin home starts the last 2 years, you'd be up money.
Yeah.
Just for the record.
And now, what's our next 4 teams for the parlay?
I believe it is the Brew Crew, the Royals, the Dodgers. Did they vote Giants? They voted Giants, I think. No, it was Mariners.
I thought it was the Giants because that's why. Or no, that was a different game.
No, it's Mariners. But
Mariners
a lot of people
barely
picked the
edged
Giants. But it was
that's what it was.
yeah. King Base has it figured out. If you guys really want to win, just take all the minus teams. There you go. There's a guy who gets it. Where's Night Owl? Is Night Owl in? Night Owl, speak up, man. He's probably scared to talk because of what he said last night in the voice chat. Go on, Night Owl, show yourself. We were talking about the Cowboys last night. We did Browns Cowboys we were going through in the voice chat. Night Owl says Zeke Elliott, one of the best leaders in the NFL. Go on, Night Owl. Raise your hand. Take a bow.
Leaders in BMI. Leaders in what?
Leaders in BMI.
What exactly is he leading?
He got flamed for it. The rest of the night was him going, "You guys are twisting my words. That's not exactly what I said."
And then what are the other teams?
Last poll.
Yeah. I put Brewers in there because they're second place.
Okay, Grimace and Astros are the last 2, so you need another second place.
Okay.
Dodgers, yes. Seattle, yes. Reds 2, yes. Angels,
Yes. Someone goes, he's the best at leading his team to the buffet. Who said that? Kyle Theobald. That's funny. Night Owl, you're officially banned. I don't think Night Owl's here, or he's literally just doesn't want to talk.
Feels good to have a couple NFL bets on the card too. I woke up this morning. I was like, oh man, I forgot I bet those. Didn't really forget, but I was like,
yeah. Tom Leach. That's a solid way to phrase it. So that's where people go wrong. Don't try to predict outcomes. Bet teams at value prices, and over the long term, mathematically, you should make money. Do you agree? Yeah, that's a solid way to phrase it. Where it's not necessarily like we're just using Patrick Corbin as an example at home plus 170. It's not necessarily that I think the Nationals are going to win. I just think they'll win that game 40% of the time, which will be profitable over time. You hit 4 out of 10 at plus 170, you're swimming in dough. Kyle, you should only bet a couple of games a day. That's why you should dump the analytics. Well, how are those two even related? The amount of bets you place in the analytics, those two things are not correlated at all. And I only have 2 bets today.
Never mind. I'm not even gonna get into it this morning.
You're gonna save it, Toast? It's
I'm
nice to hear.
saving it.
Someone
Saving it.
shout out a plus 458 DraftKings. Thank you, Daniel
Thank
Cass.
you. Wow, I was looking it up. Thank you.
Community parlay: Yankees moneyline, Twins moneyline, Dodgers moneyline, Brewers moneyline plus 458. All right, now it's the Hawaii Rainbow Warriors expert coming on. The laughing stock of the day.
I'm going to get out of here so I can watch this roast session. Have a good day, guys.
Have a good day.
All right, let's get.
Look how happy Toast is. Look at him.
That fucking froze at the best moment.
Look how happy he is. Look at how happy he is. It's like a dog or something.
No, go on. Let's get Andy on. Let's get him on.
No, I mean, the publics do.
The people need to
an
hear what
explanation
Andy has to
after
say.
all, right? I mean, after that bullshit yesterday, I mean, I'm doing explanation as a fellow bettor. Yeah, it was actually my first action since I retired as the Beaver for a little bit. So I'm not exactly.
So you tailed
pleased
Andy
my first
on
bet
Hawaii
back.
also. So Andy, would you like to talk about Hawaii football?
I'm just as mad as everybody else. All right, look, Delaware State was just as bad as we thought they were. Okay, Hawaii could not catch the football in the first half. I mean, I said Schrager yesterday. It was Brendan Shager. That's his name. Was doing a really good job. They had a lot of open guys. They were not catching the ball. They were playing in some weather conditions, but there's no excuses. They were not catching the ball. And that was my whole game plan because all they do is pass. They were number 1 in pass frequency. They were throwing the ball all over the field. And they just weren't catching the ball. The receivers sucked last night. And I got to give Delaware State credit. They weren't playing well, but they didn't turn the ball over. They punted 11 times, but they never turned the ball over. And if you're going to get a big blowout, you need the team to turn the ball over a couple of times, maybe 1 or 2 times, a fumble or something. They just weren't doing that. So Delaware State sucked. Hawaii played like shit. Overall, there just wasn't enough scoring for me to get my cover. I'm just as mad as everybody else because it was my favorite play. I thought there was no chance it was losing. I'm also mad Preston Stone came 9 yards away from hitting his prop because his receivers couldn't catch the ball in the first half.
I thought you got that one.
No, he finished at 255.
Oh, damn. I thought it was 230.
I thought it was 239.
No,
Yeah,
it was 264 plus. He was 3 for 10 in the first half throwing the football. He got it all in the second half. His guys were dropping passes. I'm more angry about that one honestly because it was so close. But yeah, I have no excuses. Hawaii played like shit, and I'm an idiot for betting.
So you had an Aaron Gordon ladder-esque performance yesterday.
Well, I mean, to be fair, you bet that Aaron Gordon got 1 rebound.
Okay,
I bet Preston Stone got
255. What'd you go? 1 for 4 yesterday?
1 for 4, yeah. 1 for 4.
You know what?
It was bad.
I can't even defend you, Andy, because you have roasted Prop Beaver for that Aaron Gordon rebound ladder like a dozen times.
Hawaii still won the game by 21. They didn't cover by half of it. He got 1 rebound. That's why that's so good. He came up.
All right.
Yeah, that was bad.
So anyway, why don't we talk Green Bay Packers football? And Prop Beaver, can you start off by telling Andy about teams that have a 20% jump in offensive ROI in the second half of the season? I think he needs to hear this.
I mean, I kind of wanted to go into it
a
different way.
I want Andy
God
to hear
forbid
that point.
You let me tell a story.
Yeah,
for
go ahead.
Christ's
Let
sakes.
Beaver cook. Let him cook.
Jesus
Go ahead.
Christ. I mean, so basically the lasting image of last year, I mean, kind of FTN kind of told us in a beautiful story. So kind of got to give credit to them. I've been giving credit to them all season with these season previews, but lasting image that everybody sees was not really it wasn't the NFC Championship game, but not really that divisional game against the San Francisco 49ers where they got eliminated. I feel like when we look at last season with the Packers and the lasting image of Jordan Love in that offense, everybody thinks of them going into Dallas and lighting those Cowboys up. I mean, they went into Dallas and they put up an 190% pass offense DVOA. That is the best mark for a single game in Packers history. This is a franchise.
For real?
Yes, swear to God, this is a franchise that has had Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers and Mr. Jordan Love in a playoff game at Dallas
when they were
the
dogs.
toughest defenses in the NFL put up the best pass offense DVOA in Packers history. So an absurdly impressive performance there, but things were not so pretty for this Packers offense earlier in the season. I mean, through week 9 of last year, this is an offense that was just 19th in offensive DVOA, and Love was not really doing so well. I mean, he had a lot of struggles on his deep passes early in the year, and he was targeting the deep ball a lot earlier in the season. I mean, through week 9, second in average depth of target, and as he was completing only 25% of those passes, had 0 TDs, 4 interceptions. But what happened was kind of really just LaFleur took off the training wheels, and that sounds a bit crazy when you have such a high depth of target, but what happened was we started to see him really increase his use of motion. We started to see those Jaden Reed end arounds really start to increase during the second half of last season. While the ADOT did decrease a bit, Jordan Love was twice as successful on the deep ball. We saw his completion percentage rise from 25% to 47%, and we saw the DVOA shoot up to second. On top of that, what happened? The running game started improving. On top of the passing game being a bit abysmal in the first half of the season, so was the running game. When the passing game started to open things up, so did the running game. This is an offense that went from 25th in rushing DVOA in the first half of the season to 7th during the second half. And that was the same period where, as I mentioned, Jaden Reed started not only getting going in the running game, but in the deep game as well. Jaden Reed had, I believe, the 3rd most DYAR from the slot, and on top of that, he had the most deep targets and deep yards from the slot. So he had a lot of versatility. On top of that, Dontavian Wicks started establishing himself as a short and intermediate target. I'm sure if you're a fantasy football guy, you've been hearing him as one of the main sleeper targets going into this season. So we started seeing this offense really establish themselves during the second half of the last season, but that is something that is very scary because the Rams, along with this Packers team, joined a list of 31 teams that since 2010 have saw their offensive DVOA jump by at least 20% over the back half of the season. These are offenses that finished the year hot and are looking to carry that momentum into the next season. This season. But the issue with this are that a lot of these teams have been met with a lot of disappointment. The previous 28 teams in this spot saw their offensive DVOAs drop an average of 3.5% the next season. So, I mean, I just...
And those are a 3.5% drop from the entire year stats, not just the second half.
Exactly. So, I mean, let's go ahead. And
so basically what he just said, to summarize it, if you didn't follow, since, was it 2004 or 2000?
1 second. Where was
I don't want to fuck the year up.
2010.
2010. So since 2010, there has been 31 teams that had a 20% or greater jump in offensive production in the second half of the year. Like we're describing the Packers. The second half of the year, the offense saw a huge jump. Jordan Love looked like one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, which is great. But in those 31 teams, you take the average of all of them the following year, they actually drop in offensive production from the entire year. So not only do, on average, they fail to meet what they reached at the second half of the season, but they actually have a worse overall offensive year. And so basically, Jordan Love sucks, is what Prop Beaver is saying.
That's not what I'm saying. This was an offense that was 9th in DVOA at the end of last season, which is pretty good. But the offenses in this scenario, right, they're seeing an average drop of 3.5%. That's a pretty decent amount. So we may see this offense actually take a step back after last season, which sounds a bit nuts with how good Jordan Love looked at the back half of last season. We may now see them go from an offense that's 9th in DVOA to an offense that's more near 12th and 13th. And everybody may be expecting this unit to look like the top 5 unit that was at the back half of last year. I believe they actually might have been top 3. But the problem is, if you're looking at just the second halves of these teams, the 31 teams that were just listed, that saw their 20% jump, the average fall of those teams in the back half was 17.3%. So as dominant as the Packers were during that span, I'm telling you guys, we tend to see some massive fall off in terms of the offensive production here. So as much as it pains me to say, because I was very excited about the Packers headed into this offseason, very excited about the Rams heading into this offseason because of how last season ended, we tend to not see that carry over into the next season because of just because of how recency bias works. You have to look at a full sample size of an NFL season. We just can't look at the second half and expect that to carry over into the next season. In fact, only 2 teams have managed to improve on their second half DVOA in this situation. The 2011 Broncos, who swapped Tim Tebow for Peyton Manning, and the 2011 Seahawks, who exchanged Tavares Jackson for Russell Wilson. Absent a major quarterback change, every team in the Rams/Packers shoes have seen at least some of their late season gains slip away.
Wow.
So every single one has decreased in terms of their offensive ranks or DVOA. Every single one.
Explain that, Andy. Explain it.
I was actually, you just brought up what my point was going to be. I was curious if we had like a list of those teams, because my immediate thought was how many of those teams lost significant factors on their offense. And to be fair, Green Bay did. They did lose Aaron Jones, but Aaron Jones was hurt a lot of last year, and they replaced him with Josh Jacobs. So I'm curious if we have like a list of teams that did
hold
that.
on.
No, I do think the Packers offense. I think the Packers offense is going to be somewhere in the middle of where it was last year. It's not going to be as great as it was at the end of the year, because it was damn near perfect toward the end of the season besides a 2-week stretch. And it was pretty awful for a couple of weeks early in the season. So I think it'll be somewhere in the middle. I think there's no way they replicate that. They're a very young team. Their quarterback's still, I mean, obviously he just got paid, but like he's had like a good 10-week stretch of his career. That's really it. So you don't know much about him. So I don't think the Packers offense is going to be anywhere near as good as it was late in the season last year, because it was amazing. And I'm curious, like, I do like that stat. That's a very good stat. And that's why I do think he's correct. I don't think they're going to replicate what they did at the end of the year or in the second half of the season. It's very hard to do that. You brought up that playoff game. He was literally perfect in that game. He was it was unreal what he was doing in that game, really, for the whole second half of the year. So I was curious. That is a great stat, great pull by Prop Beaver as always. But I'm curious if there's like a correlation of losing significant factors, because as much as Green Bay did lose Aaron Jones, they replaced him. So like they didn't really lose a big factor in the offense.
From what I was reading in the article, it's like multiple things, whether it be injury luck, whether it be the level of competition they had faced at the time, whether it be the injury luck of the other team, whether it be penalties or different things like that. So it could be multiple things there. But the one thing I do have to say that has me optimistic for you guys in terms of not really taking a step back and kind of being in the same spot, or at least actually somewhat taking a step forward this season, is that your defense was ass last year and that Joe Barry is an embarrassment.
So what do you think of the defensive hire? Andy.
We went through Boston College's defense, and obviously we don't look at college stats exactly, like obviously it's a translation to the NFL. But they never really had a great defense with him there as a head coach. But he's a defensive guy. He wanted to stop recruiting.
I would hope he's a defensive guy.
I pray to God.
He wanted to stop recruiting. This was a better opportunity for him. I think it's a good. I mean, anybody who comes from the NFL or comes from college up to the NFL, there's a learning curve there. But I'm sure he'll be fine. He's a veteran in football. He's an older guy, so I'm sure it'll be fine. I like the additions on the offense, on the defense, more than necessarily the hire. Them bringing in Xavier McKinney was sick. They completely transformed their safety room, because they also brought in Javon Bullard from Georgia, who's a stud too. So, coaching is what it is. Joe Barry was so bad that I think it can only be better, because I mean every year he was. I mean, we wanted him fired every single year. Fans wanted him fired every year, and he deservingly so. He was so bad that I only think Hafley can be better, and bringing in McKinney and Bullard changes the safety room completely. So
yeah, but changes it. Is it necessarily better off the bat?
Well, I mean, Xavier McKinney is one of the best safeties.
Yeah, McKinney, but the other one you got a rookie in. It's not like the safeties you lost were shit. I mean, granted, I don't think Rudy Ford played at all last year, right?
He was in and out. Yeah,
he was in and out. And I thought it was
Jonathan Owens was there too. He played those were like replacement level safeties anyway.
Yeah. Fair. So I mean, I guess it is safe to say the safeties take a step forward then.
Yeah. And on top of that, actually, if we're talking about just from a philosophical, I don't know if that's a word, but just talking about from a standpoint of how things may change in this defense now that we're looking at Hafley instead of Barry. Aggressiveness, that's going to be the number one change. Barry just wanted these dudes to just sit back and react, and pretty much from what I can see in terms of quotes, not only from the FTN thing, but things I was reading from the Athletic, all of the players hated that. I don't understand running a system that your players hate, but Joe Barry loved it, and it resulted in a defense that finished 27th in weighted defensive DVOA last season. I don't really get it. Apparently, what we are going to see from not only what Gutekunst, that was horrible.
Yeah, you butchered that. It's
Gutekunst, the GM, is suggesting, and Halfley. Apparently, we're going to see more of a traditional 4-man front, which would be a really big deal for Green Bay and could benefit not only the players on the defensive line, but the secondary. In the Bears scheme, according to what FTN was saying, the down linemen, they were basically asked to play like a gap and a half style of run defense. They were playing more reactive. Linemen had to like occupy blocks and then like work the second level a bit. And it just like essentially did not work at all. Meanwhile, now you just have guys who are more so playing their style of play. Then on top of that, if you're looking at some of the coverage responsibilities, you're no longer going to have linebackers trying to be mismatched on slot receivers like you had Devondre Campbell in that freaking Buccaneers game. Holy Christ, that was a travesty.
Preston Smith had to go through that too. He covered Justin Jefferson, I think, one play last year. It wound up being like a 60-yard touchdown.
So that was horrible. And then in terms of the secondary, Halfley has been a secondary coach pretty much all of his career. Let me go ahead and try and pull that up. NFL DB coach in San Francisco, Cleveland, and Tampa Bay. And then on top of that, co-defensive coordinator and DB coach at Ohio State in 2019. They have the second best defense in terms of college football that year. And then in the secondary, Halfley's a guy who favors a very aggressive coverage scheme, single high and press coverage. Jair Alexander, that's music to that guy's ear. He's been asking to just play man coverage and follow the number one receivers his entire career. But Joe Barry's trying to play this soft zone coverage. I think that's great, honestly, because this is a team that needs some turnovers. Green Bay had just 7 interceptions last year. That was 31st in the NFL. If anything, that should positively regress for them. If they could get some nice turnover luck working their way, that's something that tends to regress heavily on a season-long basis. That could work in their favor. And if anything, Rashawn Gary, you should probably know this, Andy. Was he coming off major injury going into last season? Yeah. So if he could go into this season healthier, get back his pass rush, I guess I'm missing a better word. Get his aura back. Then I think that the Green Bay's got they have to improve on the defensive end. So I think that's exciting.
I was gonna mention they have to stay healthy because they've had a few guys where obviously Gary had the major injury a year ago, but also Quay Walker and Eric Stokes. Both guys they had very high hope for. And Quay Walker's been really good when he's on the field. The problem is Quay Walker is either getting ejected from games or hurt. He was hurt a lot so far in his career. Eric Stokes missed basically all of last season. I think he came back for 2 weeks, then got hurt again. He's a speed corner, and he's very good. Obviously, he went to Georgia, so I know him as well. Quay Walker, too. Like, they're very good. They need to stay healthy because, I mean, they were, like, mixing. And I mean, they had Ballantyne and Valentine, both corners. They had to play significant time as young guys. That didn't work for them. The defense needs to stay healthy. I think they have the guys, but they need to stay healthy and the system now that fits their players better than whatever Joe Barry was doing.
I'm looking at the schedule and I see 5 losses in a row for the Packers.
Wow. Okay.
Oh boy.
Jesus.
Oh boy.
Check this out.
It's absurd. All right.
So check this out. It may be even 7 losses in a row.
Okay.
Hold on. Dead ass.
All right.
I think there's a chance. Dead ass. I think there's a chance the Packers don't win a game from week 8 to week 15.
All right, so they're losing to the Bears. Okay, so team
in Chicago, in the Windy City. Yeah.
Haven't lost in Chicago in a
It's a new era. It's a new era in Chicago.
At Jacksonville. Okay.
I
just want to remind you that we've been doing previews for these teams for over a month. The Packers have pretty much been an automatic loss for every team we're talking about right now. Like,
maybe for you.
For you. The Niners and Dolphins.
Yes.
The Dolphins
maybe for the guy. Maybe for the guy who laid 150 points with Hawaii last night.
But don't we talk about Miami's struggles in the cold weather? You think it's not going to be at least a little chilly in Lambeau on Thanksgiving? No?
That's a loss.
Okay. All right. So the Packers suck is what you're telling me. Okay.
No. They're going to start off like 7-1.
Yeah, this is a pretty that week 1. I think they're going to lose because that's what
you're damn right.
Besides that, I think.
I haven't bet it yet. I don't like how it's in Brazil.
Yeah, it sucks.
Some weird shit there. But So yeah, I will say week 1 loss to Philly, but then they're gonna win 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe even 6 in a row if you haven't beaten Houston and Lambeau. There's a lot of wins in a row. So I think the Packers are sitting at 6-1, but at Jacksonville's tough. Let's say they win 1 of week 8 and 9.
Okay.
So they win 1 of those. That puts them at 7 wins going into the bye week, and things are looking great. But then after that, you're okay. You're gonna just give them a sweep over the Bears.
Yeah, man, they've been sweeping the Bears since forever, man.
I think they'll drop one this year. But all right, they almost dropped one last year, and the Bears are better. But whatever. You won't take your sweep of the Bears, fine. But even without that, San Francisco lost, Miami lost, at Detroit lost, at Seattle I think is a loss in prime time. Dude, there's a lot of losses there. I don't think you get to 10. Under up. 9-8 for the Packers.
This isn't over. If they're starting
shocker.
7, if they're starting 7-1, if they're starting 7-1, they have 10 games. You think they're not going to go 3-7?
If they're starting
the guy who goes.
You just said they're 7-1.
I didn't say shit. I've been
No,
asking
not
since
you.
I
I
switched
said
my
6
camera.
and 1.
Kyle said, I'm sorry, 6-1. So you don't think they're winning 4 of their last 10 games?
No, we just went through it.
I see the teams, but you have to understand that those teams have faults too. They beat Detroit last year in Detroit. Like, Detroit didn't get any better.
Take them to do it again?
Yeah, Detroit didn't get any better.
Oh
They're going
my
to split with
God.
Detroit.
They're going to be
Like,
4.5 to 6
I'm trying
dogs.
my best not to be a homer here. I'm really trying my
not
best
trying
not
hard
to be
enough.
a homer here.
Not
I
trying
don't
hard
understand why you have them getting swept by all those teams.
enough. I don't have them getting swept by all those teams. I have them losing in Detroit, as most of America will. They'll be 4.5-point dogs in that game.
So all right.
I'm not being a
But you-
homer.
no-
The Packers are just going to beat the best team in the NFC on the road. Twice in a row. That's a loss. I have them at 9-8.
All right.
Dude, I don't know.
I think
This
it's
is the
10.
toughest-
I do think it's 10. That's.
Oh my God, we have such a different opinion. He puts one more win than me.
But that's the difference, though. The number's 9.5. That's why I said over.
I know you made it sound like I was so wild.
Well,
for
I
saying
think it's
9-8.
crazy to bet an under on a 9.5 when you have a team starting 6-1. That's
Due to the price and
Do
the
it.
complete unknown at the DC, I'll take the
Let's
under.
go.
Only due to the fact that I have that statistic telling me that the offense regresses the year afterwards. If I didn't have that statistic and I was just blindly like, oh, this offense is gonna be fucking sick this year, then I would probably take the over. But
I honestly
got
think
the
they
numbers
dropped one of the
telling me
Bears
it will
games.
regress, so yeah.
Also, there's these division games are weird. You can't just chalk up 5-1 in the division like that. Like the Vikings last year with who was that quarterback and they almost beat the Packers last year?
don't say Jaron Hall because they beat the shit out of Jaron Hall.
No, never mind. No, they beat the Packers, but it was earlier in the season with Cousins.
with Kirk. Yeah.
But
But
the game I'm thinking of, I think, is when Jaron Hall or someone the Vikings had put like a backup quarterback in and gave the Lions a game. The point is these division games, it doesn't matter. And I think the Bears take one of yours. All right, next team.
Tough.
Tough.
This is less tough.
This is a fun team.
This is less tough.
Carolina. Everyone is drinking the Cardinals Kool-Aid. The Carolina Panthers Kool-Aid isn't being
I don't
sold
know.
as
Where
much
is
as
this Cardinals Kool-Aid being sold?
Toast loves the Cardinals.
It needs to be discontinued.
Toast has the Cardinals going to the playoffs.
Yeah, that's the silliest shit I've ever heard. I don't know why everybody thinks that one wide receiver comes to a team and fixes an offense. If anything, statistically proven that rookie wide receivers, star wide receivers, make your offense worse. It's the next year that it fixes your offense, not the first year. Actually, makes your offense worse.
We're talking about. Oh wow, the Panthers actually did draft a wide receiver in the first round with the last pick.
Yeah, look at.
And unless the 32nd ranked defense from last year plans on improving, I don't know. I think the Cardinals are going to stink again. Just
All
me.
right, Cardinals. Prop Beaver. This will probably be a shorter one, but give us your thoughts on Carolina.
Yeah, this is going to be a shorter one. Damn. It stinks. The Panthers, they tried. They tried. They tried. You tried, guys, but that's not how things work. So this team, they spent a lot in the offseason. I will give them that. They spent a lot offensively to make this team work around Bryce Young. But the thing is, and they also brought in coaching in the offseason to make things work for Bryce Young. But the thing is it fixable? Is it fixable? Because we also dealt with the Justin Fields thing is Justin Fields fixable? I mean, we heard about how bad Justin Fields' numbers were, and now here I present to you some of Bryce Young's numbers. Bryce Young last year had negative 1,078 passing DYAR, the third worst ever recorded, just beaten out by the rookie years of Josh Rosen and David Carr.
No way.
Yes. He had 9.1 yards per completion. That was the 9th lowest ever in NFL history. Take away the sack yards from his completions, and Young netted just 4.1 yards per dropback. Adjusted for error, that is the 10th worst season ever. As a result, the Panthers had the second worst year in franchise history, both overall and offensive DVOA. Only the 2010 Jimmy Clausen team managed to slip below last year's negative 35.3% mark. Jesus Christ. Bottom 30 season all time, both on offense and overall. So what did they do? They brought in Dave Canales to help fix this guy, because Dave Canales has been reviving QB since 2018. What did he do? Russell Wilson, he helped him to the highest DVOA of his career after some injury-riddled seasons. He helped Geno Smith also reemerge as a true starter in the NFL as a QB coach with the Seattle Seahawks. Then, in his first season as an offensive coordinator with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, he helped Baker get back on track after a brutal final season in Cleveland.
That's a sick resume right there.
That is a sick resume. As a QB coach and as a teacher, Dave Canales, I'm a massive fan of. He's a top-notch guy and comes highly recommended. But, unfortunately, Dave Canales is also going to be calling plays for the Panthers. And as I said in the Panthers preview, in the Bucs preview, that is where I'm really concerned for the Panthers here. Tampa had the 4th worst offense on first and second downs because the play calling was super, super predictable. I mean, this team had an absurd amount of Rachaad White rushes up the gut. Very short, inefficient outs, ins, just that were near the line of scrimmage, setting up these 3rd and longs. I believe they had the 9th longest 3rd and long distance last year. And it was only Baker's magic on 3rd down bombs to Evans and Godwin's that was keeping this Bucs offense afloat. Can you remind me of the 3rd down and long options that are available on this Panthers team for Bryce Young to throw to? Exactly. There are literally fucking none. Deontay Johnson, as much as I love that man, on what planet is that like your your 3rd down and deep option? Yeah. That I know Deontay Johnson is a man coverage beater, but it's just I'm a bit concerned with the play calling.
What about Thielen, bro? Dude, Thielen's sick.
Yeah, Thielen, man coverage beater, one of the worst separation.
I didn't know.
One of the worst separation marks in all of football last year. Adam Thielen, man coverage beater.
I didn't know you were talking about man coverage. I thought you were talking about 3rd down.
No, and then in terms of who they signed in the offseason, unfortunately, I hate to go ahead and shit on some guys here, but they go ahead and they do make big splashes in free agency by signing massive contracts for Robert Hunt and Damian Lewis. Robert Hunt, I'll give a bit more credit to.
He was good.
Robert Hunt is a solid offensive lineman, but Robert Hunt also benefits massively from being part of the Miami Dolphins scheme. A scheme that relies heavily on motion, heavily on getting the ball out at one of the quickest rates in the league. And what did his backup had a PFF grade that was just behind him amongst guards. So technically, if you're looking at his grade and looking at some of his ranks, his backup was just as valuable as him and is getting paid like 50 times less than him. So that didn't really make much sense to me. And then on top of that, you're getting paid Damian Lewis, who in my mind has been a I just really did not love the Damian Lewis signing either, who in my mind was a lower level guard for the Seahawks over the past few seasons. You pay him a massive contract. You have now one of the most expensive O-lines in the league, but you certainly don't have one of the most talented O-lines in the league. You have a mediocre to bottom tier O-line still that's not going to be great at holding up for Bryce Young and Chuba Hubbard, who still has averaged less than 4 yards per carry in 2 of his 3 seasons as a running back, and Jonathan Brooks is still yet to see any NFL action. Deontay Johnson's already gotten hurt twice in camp thus far. I'm a bit struggled. I'm a bit struggling here to see some offensive success for these Panthers. I know it's exciting to see the young guy get the offensive job, to get the new head coach job for a team, be like, okay, Dave Canales, man, he should be taking over this team. I think he could do it. It kind of reminds me of like the Kevin O'Connells, the McVays. You could see him in that same mold because he took over an offense. He had a lot of success with it quickly. Why can't he bring that same success to a new team? And why can't he revamp Bryce Young, who was in such a shitty position with Frank Reich? I just don't know if it's the same type of success here. I don't know if he could translate that. And I don't know if exactly Canales deserves all of the things for that success. I really do think a lot of third down luck last year is to blame for that success. And I really also think we need a year to see if Canales is legit. Because, hey, what if Canales does what CMC did in that play against, forget what that, no, not CMC. Remember that Cam Newton meme where he's like at the line of scrimmage and the guy was like, oh, I know what play you're calling.
Yeah.
He's like,
Oh, yeah, that's
watch
Quinn
this.
Matthews, yeah.
What if Canales just pulls a different rabbit out of his hat this year and completely changes his play calling? Everybody thinks they know what he's about to do, completely changes it, and it works, and it's amazing. Then I'll be completely wrong. I'm a jackass, and he's something.
We know that.
And some of you already know that.
I do want to offer a little bit of pushback on what you said about the Carolina offensive line. I think the fact that Brady Christensen is now healthy and not even listed as a starter is a reflection of where they're at as a unit. Because if you remember, I mean, going into last season, I thought he was one of their better offensive linemen. He ended up missing pretty much the whole year with an injury, and now he's healthy, and I don't even know if he's going to start. So, I mean, obviously, maybe he didn't make a full recovery. Who knows? But the fact that he's healthy and maybe not even starting on this line, in my opinion, is a reflection of this offensive line being in a much better position than it was a year ago. And also, what's the deal with Jonathan Brooks, Andy? He's not playing? Is he not playing? Prop Beaver said he hasn't seen any action yet. There's an O next to his name as for his injury. He's missing camp right now?
Yeah, as if that's what everybody's saying. I don't remember him getting hurt in college. He didn't get hurt in any of the playoff games or anything. So
Well,
I don't see. He must have gotten hurt in camp.
He tore his ACL
When?
in November.
He's out.
What?
Yeah, he tore his ACL.
Oh, yeah, duh.
Oh, okay. I remembered him playing in the playoff game, but maybe I guess not. Maybe I was thinking of a different game. Then why would they draft him in the second round if he's coming off a torn ACL?
He was the man before he got hurt.
He was
must be
electric.
goated. He must be goated.
There
I
were
have no clue.
much healthier and better running backs on the board. Then.
Here's my thing though. Here's my
okay.
thing though. Even my point is, if you somehow think this offense is going to be improved, I think it has to be somewhat improved, right? Because last year was rock bottom. It can't get worse than that. It literally can't. So let's just say this offense goes from, I don't know where it was. Let me pull up the graphic. Let me go ahead and take a wild guess. 32nd? Where could it be? Let's see. Let's go. Come on. Oh, 31st. Very good. So 31st in DVOA this offense last year. 32nd in passing DVOA. If they shoot up to 25th, let's just say, which would be a massive leap, I still think this defense is about to be god-awful. And that's saying something because this is a defense that's actually been quite good for them as of late. Let's go ahead and look at the defensive ranks, and let me explain to you why I think the defense is going to be bad. So the defense last season, 26 in DVOA, 26 in EPA per play, 6 in yards per play. You may be asking, okay, what is so good about this defense? Well, the pass defense, as you could see, 6th in pass defense grade, 10th in run defense grade, but they were 32nd in rush defense DVOA, 20th in pass defense DVOA. They had a pretty brutal schedule, besides
No, that would indicate they had an easy schedule because the numbers look better.
Oh, wait.
Right, because you're saying their defensive surface level stats look pretty good, but their schedule adjusted stats look bad, meaning that their schedule.
Okay, I get what you're saying.
You know what I mean? Like they're 10th in run defense, but DVOA is saying, dude, they played.
Okay, yeah, they had their defense was like okay, it wasn't anything crazy, but they at least had some talent on it. The problem is now that this season, their defense has essentially nobody on this team anymore. They got rid of the two core pieces besides J.C. Horn. They got rid of Frankie Louvu, and they got rid of Brian Burns. So now their pass rush is just gone. They brought in Jadeveon Clowney, which is somewhat okay. I mean, Jadeveon Clowney is coming off of a season where he did reach his season high in sacks. But can you really expect Jadeveon Clowney to post another season with 9+ sacks? Here are Jadeveon Clowney's seasons following a 9+ sack season: 2, 3, 6. I mean, he's very, very inconsistent, Jadeveon
Definitely had a bit of a resurgence last year.
And to be quite frank with you, his level of motivation for the Carolina Panthers, a non-playoff team, I think is going to be quite low in comparison to the Baltimore Ravens, a team that has everything to gain. They replaced him. They also, on the other side, brought in DJ Wonnum, who was the lesser impressive member of the Vikings pass rush last year, opposite Daniel Hunter. And DJ Wonnum is actually already added to the PUP list. He's not going to be there to start the season, so that's a bit concerning. Opposite J.C. Horn, they brought in Dane Jackson. He's going to be the replacement for Dante Jackson Jr. That's ugly. Dane Jackson should not be a starting cornerback in the NFL right now. He's a replacement level guy at best. Their nickelback corner, Troy Hill, another replacement level guy. So they have two backup cornerbacks essentially playing their starting cornerback positions opposite J.C. Horn. So whoever J.C. Horn isn't covering is going to be just free lunch money. And Dane Jackson's already hurt as well. So I'm just really concerned about this defense. They don't have any pass rush. They don't have anybody in the secondary besides J.C. Horn, who's worth a damn. And at the linebacker position, besides Shaq Thompson, who is coming off of an ACL tear, absolutely brutal, Josie Jewell is just not going to do it. Josie Jewell was horrible in Denver. So, yeah, I think the defense is bad. It's a first-year head coach. Bryce Young needs to prove it to me because as much as potential Bryce Young had, he was also one of the most historically bad rookies we've ever seen in this league, bad situation or not. So he's gonna need to prove it to me. And I mean, we could play the schedule game all you want.
Yeah, let's play the schedule game.
One thing I will say for this team, they got a hell of an easy schedule. This is a team that gets to play the NFC East.
Yeah, and they look at their road games.
Even the West.
They got winnable road games on here.
Yeah, they get to play the NFC East and the AFC West. So that's a pretty nice pull right there.
Yeah, and I obviously week 1 is a loss in my book. I'm actually considering betting the Saints. The reason I haven't laid the points yet is I kind of think there's going to be some sharp action that buys that down even more. It was at 4.5. It's now at 4. I think that there might be an outside chance of getting a 3.5. I might be speaking wishfully here, but it was a 4.5. It's down to 4. So maybe I can get a Saints minus 3.5.
Everybody does hate the Saints, so maybe we could.
That's what I'm saying, and I like to say I was down to bet it at 4.5, but I was like, I don't think there's any reason to rush that bet. What's the worst case scenario? I get stuck with a 5. 5's not a number that scares me.
Let's just wait for more Saints linemen to drop out and
let's
just wait for more Dennis Allen hate speeches.
I'll buy in on that if it gets down to 3.5 for that week 1 game. But obviously, yeah, that's a loss. I have the Saints winning that one. Week 2 against the Chargers
at home.
It's winnable.
I've said I hate the Chargers too, so I got to be a bit fair here.
Yeah, let's give them a win there.
All right, yeah.
At Las Vegas, I mean, it's a winnable road game. I mean,
on the Vegas. Yeah.
But like, if we're giving the Raiders the credit of they were somewhat solid at stopping the run in the second half of the year. Yeah, the numbers were inflated a little bit, but they still were doing a good job against the run, and I think that's a loss.
I think it's a loss as well. They'll get killed by the Bengals. They killed.
Yeah, then at Chicago's a loss.
We'll get killed by the Bears.
Shit. At home against Atlanta, I mean, it's winnable, but you got to say loss, right?
Winnable. but I'm counting as a loss.
At Washington.
I will have them winning at Washington. I think Washington's good.
How about this? I'll give them they'll win week 6 or 7. They'll beat Atlanta at home or it's a division game. They could upset Atlanta. So we'll give them one of those. It's 2 wins. On the road in Denver's a loss. Home against the Saints. I mean, I think the Saints sweep them, to be honest.
As do I.
Wait. 9:30 a.m. Where's that game? What country? Giants.
If it's in Europe, it doesn't matter to me.
What? Munich, Germany.
Yeah.
It's in Germany?
Oh, if it was in Italy or if it was in Germany, it would change the cap for you?
I was just more asking
Okay.
out of curiosity.
Yeah.
Well, he called Ireland Germany yesterday, so he's trying to get his countries right.
Oh, dude, that had me dying.
Ben Gray's in the comments saying he likes Carolina to beat the Raiders on the road. All right, let's say they beat the Giants. Let's give him that one. That's 3.
Giants are a sorry sack, so.
They get the Chiefs coming out of the bye, which is favorable, but they'll still lose. Then follow that home against the Bucks. They could win that one, man. I don't like the Bucks this year.
I do think the Bucks are pissed.
So that's 4. At Philly loss, Dallas loss, Arizona.
I did say what I said about Arizona.
Dude, they could win Arizona. That's 5. Can they steal one of those last 2 road games to get to 6? I honestly think they could get to 6.
I have them at 5. I'm directly at 5.
I'll put them at 6. Give me the over. I'm not betting this shit, but I'll put them at 6.
I'm not
and
betting
11.
this disgrace, but yeah, I have them directly at 5. But I could see a 6. I mean, I think Canales would have to do a hell of a job. Canales would have to prove me wrong. He'd have to innovate in that play calling, because the thing that is scaring me about Canales really is that Canales was like doubling down on his play calling tendencies in interviews this season. He was like, yeah, well, you know, we were running it up the gut, setting up lighter boxes, and that just wasn't the case at all. They ran into heavy boxes all the time. It made no sense. So whatever he said was the complete opposite. All I know from what the FTN was showing me, it was bad.
Andy,
Canales.
would you take an over under here? Or should we go right to go?
I would lean under because I don't give bad teams the benefit of the doubt. If they're winning, if they're at 5 wins, then I'd just say they're going to lose an extra one and go to 4. So.
All right.
Thanks, Knock.
College.
Oh, very nice.
Vanderbilt.
Yeah, it's going to be fun as hell, though. I like him.
Oh, Xavier.
Yeah, he's the most country guy, right? Something like that.
All right. We're going to
Now this-
Vandy.
This is real football right here.
And now let's talk real ball. Clark Lee back for his 4th season at head coach. He got the kiss of death, though. So they bring in Tim Beck from New Mexico State, and that offense the second half of the year looked really good. Certainly could run the ball with Diego Pavia. Speaking of which, they got Diego Pavia as well. So I mean, I don't really know too much about Tim Beck, but I'd say it's a cool hire. I don't really know enough about him to really give an opinion on it. DC, who's the defensive coordinator here? Do they not have one?
No, Clark Leah does it.
Yeah, but there was a DC there last year, though. Wasn't
Yeah,
there?
he's doing it himself. He's handling it himself.
Okay, that makes sense.
I do want to mention something on the offensive side. New Mexico State, obviously, they bring Tim Beck over. They bring Pavia over. Kind of the opposite of what Vanderbilt wanted to do last year. Now, I do take Vanderbilt with a little bit of a different scope than other teams. Vanderbilt's always losing. They're always trailing, so they can't really run the ball. So the run frequency was 111th. They don't. So technically, I'm sure they'd want to run. They'd love to have running backs that could run, but they're always losing, so they can't. So the 23rd in pass frequency, if they're able to play their game, which they're Vanderbilt, they're probably not going to be able to. That's something New Mexico State did a lot of. They ran the ball a lot last year. I just wrote a video on Vanderbilt, this team. They're going to want to run the ball. Pavia runs
I think they will be able to run the ball this year.
All of their weapons are gone. They've all transferred to different schools, except their leading running back is back. So they have a running back that's back, and their quarterback can run. He ran for over 800 yards last year. So this team's going to want to run the ball. But again, they're Vanderbilt, so it's very hard to see them leading in games to do it. But that is a kind of an interesting style change for them.
Yeah, but being able to run the ball, especially early in the game, can sometimes keep those from getting out of hand, maybe cover a few numbers, which is not the Vanderbilt way. But like Andy mentioned, so anyway, they're 57th in returning production, 15 returning starters. Offense looks pretty good, honestly. Diego Pavia, as we just mentioned, coming in to play quarterback. He had a great season with New Mexico State last year. Went on to play Liberty in the Conference USA Championship game. They did lose their RB2, but Cedric Alexander is back. It's the team's leading rusher from last year. They also brought in an RB from New Mexico State who comes over with Pavia and with OC Tim Beck. Now, they did get gutted at wide receiver. Their one guy transferred to Colorado, their other guy transferred to Georgia, and their other guy transferred to Boston College. So
and they lost their leading tight end.
Yeah. So their main pieces as far as receivers are all gone. That being said, I like the RBs. I like the quarterback who can run the ball. And the offensive line should be in really good shape for Vanderbilt. They bring back 3 starters. They also added a starting guard from Mississippi State. So an SEC starting guard comes over to play here at Vanderbilt. And they also added a starting left tackle from Liberty. Yeah. So Vanderbilt offensive line, this is why I'm saying, I think this is solid. Vanderbilt should have a respectable offensive line. They got a good couple of backs. They got a quarterback that can run it. Tell me that's not a solid enough setup on offense to at least keep games interesting for longer.
Yeah, I like the offense. I will say I said that. I know their weapons are gone, but again, they can replace weapons. I think. I mean, all of them went to better teams, obviously. The O-line, it is what it is. They are bringing back starters, but again, this is a team that doesn't always have a great O-line. So what are you bringing back? But the transfers will help. I mean, it's very hard to talk about Vanderbilt and obviously say positive things a lot of the time. But I think going into this year, I know Clark Lea is probably going to get fired because they're going to have a rough year. But it is a definitely improved coming into the season. It's definitely improved coming into the year.
Yeah, and it looks pretty good on the defensive side as well. 7 of the top 8 defensive linemen are back. Now, they did lose their best piece, though. Their edge rusher, Nate Clifton, he's gone. He's at USC now. So they lost their best defensive lineman, but the other 7 of the top 8 defensive linemen are back. They did lose 2 starters as far as linebackers, but Langston Patterson is back. He led the team in tackles. They also have a kid named Brian Longwell who played really well as a freshman last year. So they're set at linebacker. They should be improved with a couple of playmakers there at linebacker. Secondary, they did lose 2 of their main pieces. Safety Jalen Mahoney's on the 49ers now. And they had another safety that transferred over to Coach Prime at Colorado. But they pretty much bring back mostly all of their corners. And they also bring in transfers from TCU and Wyoming, and they brought in an FCS kid too. So secondary should take a step forward as well. I mean, I think overall Vanderbilt, as far as improving from last year, did that. I think that, in fact, I think other than their own wide receivers, I don't think there's a single position group where they didn't get better from last year.
100% agree. I do think the pass defense can only get better. They were one of the worst teams in the country. They were also one of the worst rushing teams in the country last year on offense too. So I mean, they were obviously this was Vanderbilt. This was an awful team, but I do think roster wise they improved and
definitely
that is to benefit of them.
So let's see if we can find some W's for the commies.
This is it's not. I'm sorry, Vanderbilt probably shouldn't be in the SEC. They're in the SEC because they're a big school and they make a good amount of money doing it. This is embarrassing.
They're going to be 2-1.
Yeah, they're non-conference. They are very good non-conference.
I see 3 wins.
That's you get a push. Cool. Can you find a 4th? Because
I think it maybe steal South Carolina or Virginia Tech. I mean, they're not going to beat Virginia Tech.
No, they're not beating Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech might run for 500 yards on them.
I mean, no, they're not winning at Kentucky. It's got to be South Carolina. It would be the only other. That's crazy.
Vanderbilt is nowhere near as talented as South Carolina. Is probably their worst team in a while, and they're not a good team. They are still miles ahead of Vanderbilt in terms of talent.
They got their bye week is at LSU after. I have them at 3 wins. So you got to be only over because I think Georgia State, Alcorn State, and Ball State should all be easy wins for Vandy.
Yeah, I think Ball State won't be easy. I think they'll probably play a close one with Ball State.
So put me over, but I mean it's in reality they'll land on 3 wins just because they have 3 winnable games that they should win, and then other than that, it's really tough to find the 4th. So yeah.
Yeah, South Carolina would be the only one that I could see them pulling the upset, and they're not doing it. So.
All right. So, yeah, it looks like me and Andy both have them at 3. So, all right, next game. Next team, I should say. Arkansas. Oh, no, we're going to do Kentucky here. The graphic on the screen says Arkansas because Arkansas is Tuesday. We have an Arkansas fan coming on to do. So, we're talking about Kentucky right now, even though the graphics say Arkansas. All right, so Kentucky, Mark Stoops back for his 12th season as head coach. Liam Cohen, back, the OC, back in the NFL again, and this guy just can't seem to make up his mind. So in 2020, he was with the Rams. In 2020, he was with the Rams in the NFL. In 2021, he was with Kentucky. 2022, he's back with the Rams. 2023, he's back with Kentucky. And now 2024, he's with the Tampa Bay Bucks. So he's switched positions every year for 5 straight years. He was the OC last year, and he's gone. The new OC is Bush Hamden. He was with Boise State last year, Missouri for 3 years before that. Don't really know enough about him to criticize the hire. They are bringing back a ton. And honestly, I didn't realize how much I would like this Kentucky team until I really looked through it. 14th in returning production, 18 returning starters, 10 on defense. They bring back a ton of production on the defensive side. So, yeah, let's get into it. Andy, tell us about Brock Vandagriff, the quarterback for Kentucky. Is a transfer from your Georgia Bulldogs. Do you like him?
Yeah, he is. I mean, he was the number 1 quarterback in the country coming out. I never really understood why he came to Georgia. He was always going to be blocked by Stetson Bennett or Carson Beck. He's got a gun for an arm. He just hasn't gotten to play. He can also move a little bit, surprisingly. He can run a little bit, but he has a gun. I love the receiver room of Kentucky, so I like the idea of him coming in. First couple games, it might be some rough patch, maybe some interceptions, but very similar to Devin Leary because Devin Leary has a gun as well. But I think Brock Vandagriff has more promise, obviously. He's not as proven, but I think this is about the same at quarterback with much higher potential. He could be really, really good, way past what Devin Leary was, but I don't think he'll be much worse than Leary was.
Yeah, I think it's solid as well. In fact, I think they upgraded pretty much everywhere on the offense except for running back. And we'll talk about running back. Their star running back's gone, and Ray Davis was a freaking machine. He was a 4th-round pick. He's on the Buffalo Bills now, by the way, if you want to know where he went. And by the way, their RB2, Jefferson, he's gone also. He's on the Bucks. So they lost both their running backs from last year. Now, they did bring in Chip Trainum from Ohio State. So, I mean, it's not like they're completely shit out of luck there. They got that kid from Ohio State, that kid that he used to be a linebacker. That, if you watch Ohio State, you know who that is. Plus, their RB3 from last year is back. But no question there's a drop-off at running back. But like Andy said, receivers are looking pretty good. 2 of their top 3 receivers from last year are back, including their leading receiver, Dane Key. They also brought in Jamori Macklin from North Texas, who had over 1,000 yards last year. So no question, Kentucky upgrades as far as receivers. Their offensive line is also in really good shape. Only 1 starter gone from last year, and they brought in a transfer from Tennessee that actually started some games last year. So he has starting experience, the transfer that comes in. So essentially, they're bringing back 4 starters from last year and bringing in a 5th starter from Tennessee. So this offensive line should be in great shape for Kentucky. And on the defense, we mentioned before, 10 returning starters. I mean, this defense looks really good. Only 1 starter gone on the defensive line. Deion Walker is back, first team all-SEC defensive tackle. This is an NFL guy. 7.5 sacks from the defensive tackle position is pretty impressive. Phil Steele has the Kentucky defensive line rated number 9 in the country. So this Kentucky defensive line is a problem without a doubt. Now, linebackers, they did lose Trevin Wallace, who I believe was 2nd on the team in tackles. He was a 3rd-round pick by Carolina. But other than that, everyone's back, including their leading tackler, Derek Jackson. They also brought in a transfer from Georgia to play linebacker, so they should be set at linebacker. Defensive line's loaded, should be set at linebacker. Derek Jackson leading the way. 3 starters back in the secondary, including a 2nd-team all-SEC corner. They also added transfers from Michigan and Alabama, so even the secondary's in good shape. As far as the Kentucky defense, I mean, this could be a problem.
Yeah, the kid from Georgia, again, another one of those guys who just sat behind for a while, but he was a very high recruit. Mark Stoops, Mark Stoops' defenses are always good. It's why Texas A&M originally hired him. I don't know why I don't know what happened there. There was probably some politics around that. That's why they went to Mike Elko, because they wanted a guy who could come in and be a young guy with a great defense or whatever. Like that's what Mark Stoops is, but 10 years older. I expect Kentucky's defense to be one of the best in the SEC. And that's saying something because there's a lot of good defenses. And on offense, I mean, the receivers, both of their top 2 returning receivers are both sophomores now. They were true freshmen last year, so they're young guys coming back. I really like this team, not only this year, in the future. They have a very bright future.
And now let's go to the schedule. And I find it hard to believe. Now, this graphic on the screen says 4.5 because it's Arkansas.
Mhm.
But I find it hard to believe that this team doesn't get to 7 wins. I mean, there's 5 really winnable games right off the bat. Southern Miss, home South Carolina, home Ohio, home Vanderbilt, home Auburn. I mean, that's 5 wins. Home Murray State. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 6 wins right there. They're not going to lose to South Carolina.
That's the game I was looking at. South Carolina's just such a question mark. I think they're probably the second worst team in the conference, but also I really don't know because they have a freshman quarterback. If he turns into like a freaking superstar,
He's not going to turn into a superstar.
I know,
week 2, bro.
I know, but like you never know with some of these guys when they come in their high recruits.
That's a win.
But also Auburn's not a pushover. I think those 2 games they'll win, but I think those are both kind of toss-ups. This is easily 6 wins, and then you're just asking, will they? They're not going to pull.
Can they steal either Louisville, Tennessee, Ole Miss? At Florida's winnable. Yeah, this is over for me. Definitely. I think it's
My cursor disappeared again.
All right, so yeah, it's all right. We're both on, or I'm on the over. Are you on the over?
Yeah, I would lean over.
All right, next team.
God damn it, man.
That's brutal.
Yeah.
It'll come back in a second.
Oklahoma.
Yeah, next team's Oklahoma. We'll as soon as Prop Beaver's cursor comes back.
Oh, God.
Should just stop. Just wait till the cursor comes back.
All
right, so Oklahoma. Brent Venables back for his 3rd season as head coach. OC Jeff Lebby left to take the head coaching job at Mississippi State. DC Ted Roof was fired. They bring in Zach Alley, who was with Jacksonville State the last couple of years. And I mean, on paper, that looks like a good hire. That defense at Jacksonville State looked really good last year. As far as returning production, the quarterback is back, Jackson Arnold. Didn't see much from him last year. Very highly touted recruit. A lot of people think this is an NFL kid. Very high expectations from Jackson Arnold. The only time we got to see him was in the bowl game. He threw for 360 yards, but he also threw 3 picks against an Arizona defense that wasn't even good. But like, who cares? It was the bowl game. I don't think there's any conclusions you could take away from that, good or bad, right?
No, yeah, I have not. He's very highly recruited. I was surprised. They had another guy who transferred to Louisiana Monroe because he was blocked by this guy. So they made room for him. They really like him. So yeah, I don't take the bad performances in the bowl. I like to throw them to the side. But when a guy does like Miller Moss, I like to talk about those bowl games. Yeah.
You pick and choose when they're relevant.
Yeah.
As far as running backs, RB2 Walker is gone, but the main guy, Gavin Sawchuk's still there. 6.2 yards per carry last season, 9 rushing touchdowns. They also added a kid from UT Martin that had like 1,400 yards rushing last year. So they should be good at running back. Their leading receiver, Drake Stoops, is gone, but everyone else is back. I mean, they pretty much brought all the receivers back except the leading receiver, including Nick Anderson, who had 10 touchdown catches last year. So ton of production returning from wide receiver. And they also add a kid named Deion Burks from Purdue.
Mm-hmm. Very good.
There we go.
There we are.
So they're loaded here at wide receiver. Here's where, because so far in the handicap, or so far looking at Oklahoma, I'm like, wow, this is looking pretty good. All 5 starters on the offensive line are gone. All 5 starters on the offensive line are gone. Which is concerning. They're playing in the SEC now. There's a lot of really, really good defensive fronts. I mean, I'm sure they don't they have 5 transfers starting?
Yeah, all 5 of them are going to be transfers. This is the one unit of this team where I don't like. And that can make or break your team. We've seen a lot of really good teams get screwed over by having bad O-lines. You can't have a bad O-line in the SEC, so you have to hope early on. I mean, I know they start against Temple. That's a game that they can mesh and hope that they work together well. But yeah, this is a concern.
Yeah, I'd say. All right, now on the defensive side of the ball, let's see. All right, here's where it gets positive for Oklahoma. Defense looks pretty good. They did lose a lot of production on the defensive line, so I'm not going to say they didn't lose pieces, but Ethan Downs is still there. He was 3rd team all-conference last year. They also added a defensive end from Miami of Ohio, and we know how good that was. The best defense in the MAC by far, and he was, I believe, 1st team all-MAC. Yep. So yeah, that kid from Miami, Ohio should be a really good piece for them. They also brought in a defensive tackle from TCU. So, I mean, I don't think it's actually crazy to say Oklahoma improves here on the defensive line based on the pieces they brought in. But behind the defensive line, top 6 linebackers for the team are back. All of them. All are back, and only lost one starter in the secondary, and they added a corner from San Diego State, Des Malone. So you can poke some holes in the defensive line because there's some new pieces there, sure. Not going to argue with that. But behind the defensive line, linebackers and secondary, Oklahoma bringing back a ton of experience from last year.
Yeah, this is finally Brent Venables. He finally has his defense here. He's a defensive guy. Like you said, he was a defensive coordinator at Clemson for a long time. Yeah, he finally has his guys getting to return most of the back of his defense to front. Obviously, there's holes, but this is one of the best defenses in the SEC, maybe in the country as well.
Yeah, and it kind of makes you rethink what your thoughts are about Oklahoma coming into the SEC, because we all think of Oklahoma a certain way in our head based on how they've been in the Big 12 for the last 5 years. This is a different type of Oklahoma team. So let's go ahead and look at the schedule.
The assumption has been that what the two Big 12 teams coming into the SEC, that Texas would come in all flashy and be toward the top, and Oklahoma would kind of be a bottom feeder for a couple of years. I think it might be the opposite. I don't know that it will. I don't know how bad Texas will. I think Texas will be fine. I think Oklahoma might be better.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, they beat them last year.
Yeah.
So Oklahoma. What do you think about that? Obviously, I think we can agree. We're looking at 3-0.
Yeah, and I think they also are going to beat Tennessee. That being at home.
Yeah. So that's 4-0, 5-0 at Auburn. Even though that's
Auburn's
tough.
Yeah,
I don't like the spot. What's Auburn? What does Auburn have the week before that?
I think Arkansas.
Yeah, dude, that's a tough spot.
That is a bad spot.
Let's say that's a loss.
Yeah.
Home,
but I think they
Texas.
Rebound against Texas. No, that's a neutral site.
But coming off the bye week, I think they get Texas again.
Yeah.
So that's only at Auburn is my only loss so far.
Yeah.
Win home South Carolina, loss at Ole Miss, so that's 2. Win against Maine, at Missouri, loss.
I think they beat Missouri.
No way, dude.
Yeah, I think Missouri's due for a lot of regression. If
you just don't like Missouri.
No, if you look into Missouri won a lot of close games last year, got very fortunate last year. They're not going to do that this year. That's just not going to happen for them this year. A better team, Oklahoma's probably the better team too. I think that Oklahoma wins out.
How about this? They beat Missouri or Alabama. They win one of those games.
Okay.
Which puts us at 8. So put it up. Wait. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Over. Yep. I got him at 8.
Yep. And I don't think that LSU will. I mean, I know it's a tough place to play, but it's a very winnable game.
All right. Next up. We only have one team left, and you're taking the reins on this one. So it's Mississippi State is the last team we're doing. Yeah. So we're looking at a new era of Bulldogs. Hold on. So we're looking at a new era of Bulldogs football here. Jeff Lebby, who we were just talking about, who leaves the DC job over there, takes the head coaching job here at Mississippi State. Matt Barnes takes the defensive coordinator job. So we were talking about how he got this job because he was with the DC with Memphis last year, and Memphis defense was terrible. But the head coach is Jeff Lebby. The head coach is a defensive guy. Do they have an OC? I couldn't find one.
I think. Hold on. Give me a second because I think you're wrong about that. I think Jeff Lebby is an offensive guy. Yeah, he's.
Oh my God! Duh.
He's an offensive guru.
He was Venables' OC, not DC.
Yeah.
Wow.
No, I don't think Venables had a DC last year. So I'm thinking.
No, yes, he did. It was Ted Roof. He was fired. Yeah. We were just talking about it. Yeah. Duh. Wow. It's early. So Jeff Lebby is running the offense. Matt Barnes is running the defense. Duh. All right. So go ahead. I didn't look at this team, so go ahead. Tell us.
Yeah, so they brought in, they lost Will Rogers, and obviously Will Rogers was there for like 20 years. But a lot has changed in this program over the last 2 years. Mike Leach, unfortunately, passed away. And then last year, Zach Arnett was the coach, and they should have never hired. I mean, honestly, he should have never been the head coach. But this is a better spot for them now. Lebby, good offensive guy. That bring in everybody else can handle the defense. This guy is really highly looked at offensively. Blake Shapen comes in, plays quarterback. 36 touchdowns, 13 interceptions. I mean, this guy's had a pretty good career. He just has to stay on the field. And he hasn't really recently, but I think he will. This time they did lose their star running back, Woody Marks. He's at USC now. They have a very young backfield. I don't really like their running back room at all. And receiver is decent. They have Coleman coming in from Louisville. That's a good pickup. They also have a kid from UTEP they like. So I think they'll be able to throw the ball a little bit. And I mean, Mississippi State's always able to throw the ball, and I don't think that's going to change. They like to throw the ball overall. Obviously, they ran the air raid for forever, but that's not just going to change. They're ready for that. And O-line is in a full rebuild. They have one career start throughout the whole O-line. That is going to get run over by SEC teams. We just talked about Oklahoma having all 5 new starters, but those were transfers that had starts. This is all young guys that have not started college football games, and now they're going to be going into SEC environments, facing the best of the best guys that are going to be NFL first-round picks. So this offense is going to be – I think they'll be able to throw it when they're able to get the ball out, but they're not going to run for anything. And I think the quarterback's going to be under pressure this year.
I like the quarterback that took over when Will Rogers got hurt last year. He won me a game.
Right? Mike Wright?
Yeah, Mike Wright. Yeah, I think he's with Northwestern.
Yeah, he's starting for Northwestern.
Yeah, I mean, Mississippi State came through for me a couple times. I mean, I took them plus 10.5 in the Egg Bowl. They covered that. And I also took them their money line. They were 6.5-point dogs on the road in Arkansas, and they won that shit 7-3, and Mike Wright was playing quarterback. So, I mean, I like Mike Wright because he got the job done, and I got a win on a big money line payout, but I understand why they wanted to go a different direction at quarterback. I'll say that. And
Mike Wright got a spot where he's actually starting. They have a game against Miami of Ohio coming up. One. I think it is actually, yeah. I wrote that game. I do think that's an L. And then on defense, one D lineman returns 2 transfers. It's a different formation now because of a new DC. So this is gonna be a really tough unit overall. They brought in a young guy in the linebacking core from South Carolina, so he has some SEC experience. The rest of the unit is young and not highly recruited. Again, this is Mississippi State. They did not. Mike Leach, respect him, love him, didn't recruit defense, and neither did Zach Arnett. They didn't recruit defense at all. So this defense is going to be very young and not highly recruited guys. And the DBs were all awful last year, but the top 7 return, so they can't get worse. So I'd assume that's going to be an improved unit, which is good because the SEC has a lot of good quarterbacks. But overall, this defense is not going to be good, and a lot of teams are going to run on them. All
right, let's do the schedule, and let's get the hell out of here. All right.
I know they go to Sanford this year.
3-0 heading into Florida?
Let me get it up. No, they're probably losing that Arizona State game.
No, they're not, dude.
Dude, they're going at Arizona State.
So what? They're 3-0.
All right.
Problem is after that.
Yeah, they might not win a game until UMass. Actually, to be fair, that Arkansas-Mississippi State game, I will be locked in. That is Sam Pittman might not be coaching there anymore, but that is going to be the worst of the worst. So
they could beat Arkansas.
Yeah. Beat UMass. That's 3. Or that's actually 5.
Yeah, put it up over.
You have them at 5.
No, I have them at 4 with a possible 5th.
Yeah, that's exactly how I feel because I think they're going to lose to Arizona State. I'll be interested to see.
So put an over up, but I think 4 is the number they land on. But I think 5 is more likely than 3. So over. Yeah. All right. Thanks for watching, everybody. The graphic says 4.5, but the graphic on the screen says 4. I wouldn't take over. Actually, I wouldn't even take over 4. So it would over a pass.
Yeah.
Everyone, thanks for watching. Enjoy your Sunday. Be back tomorrow, 4 p.m. Same